This guy is the strongest golden warrior in human history, the leader of the top-tier human squad raiding high-level monsters. But life isn't a fairy tale. Just one step away from victory, his life ends. Back in human territory, his system starts screaming, danger warnings. A triple S rank Demon King cries out in despair. "Even if I die, I'm taking you down with me." The moment the Demon King explodes is when Feng Liu realizes, well, I'm absolutely screwed. The system flashes. Your HP is down to a few minutes. Congratulations, host. Because of your massive contribution to humanity, you've been granted a chance at reincarnation. Feng Liu is no longer in one piece. His lower half has vanished along with his master. He desperately drags his dying body to hit the reincarnate button on the screen. The moment the guy jolts awake, he realizes he has been reborn into a body that feels a bit weird. He jumps up in excitement. "Ha ha ha, you damn Demon King, you wanted to kill me. Not that easy." But then he freezes for 5 seconds when he notices something is seriously wrong with his surroundings. The protagonist looks around with a contemplative, dismissive glare. Why am I in a group of ugly, low-life demons? A C-rank archer, annoyed, turns to look at him. The Blue Guild is closing in. If we don't run now, it'll be too late. The guy scratches his head, confused. What the hell do you mean? Are you talking to me, old man? He spots a mirror nearby, peeks at it, and gets the shock of his life. How on earth did he become a demon? A low-level E-rank demon warrior named Kamnak-Ok. Nothing makes sense. The guy starts acting like a lunatic, screaming at the air. "System, get out here. You said reincarnation, right? I am the light of humanity. My childhood sweetheart is at home waiting for me, and now you do this to me. Where did you drag me to?" The crowd nearby stares at him full of question marks. What's wrong with this kid? Is he high on something? The system just scratches its head in embarrassment. "I'm so sorry you reincarnated during a bug." He rages. "A bug? Well, fix it for me then." The system stammers. "I'm sorry, I can't fix that." The guy is ready to tear the system apart. "Is this your support service? This is how you treat your host? I don't care, I want to file a complaint." The system whimpers. "My deepest apologies, but I've prepared another chance for you to be reborn." Immediately, the screen flashes a notification. As soon as you are defeated one more time, you can be reborn as a human. Note: suicide will not work. Just like that, the system vanishes. Kamnak-Ok stands there stunned. The group is whispering, looking at him with utter confusion. "Little Cam, why did you go completely crazy the moment you woke up?" Luthiet growls. "He's always like this, runs into a tiny bit of trouble and gets cold feet. Totally unreliable." Another guy chimes in. "The human army is attacking any second now. With a brain like his, he's never going to make it out." Nakok doesn't care about any of that. He's just sobbing. "My fiancée, she won't remarry, will she?" The D-rank mage, Lu Mai clasps her hands together, focusing her detection. "I sense them. 12 members of the Blue Guild. They're here. We're surrounded. Aside from Her Highness, who is B-rank, none of us are their match. We have to find an escape route before those ruthless guilds catch us and skin us alive." Hearing that the Blue Guild is nearby, Nak-Ok is startled. They are humans, but the ironic problem is that he is currently a demon. The guy lets out a wicked grin. "Ha ha ha ha, if the humans kill me, doesn't that mean I can be reborn again?" With that thought, he decisively starts walking, straight toward the exit. The group yells in a panic. "Hey, what are you doing? Are you insane? The humans are right there in the tunnel." Nak-Ok sighs. Hiding doesn't solve anything. I'll hold off the humans by myself. You guys run, after this heroic declaration." The group of demons is suddenly moved. He wants to sacrifice himself to protect us. Is this even the cowardly little Cam we know? Suddenly, huge rocks fall from above. Nak-Ok looks up, bewildered. Meteor magic formation. These rocks seal off the exit completely. Liu Bangdi, the daughter of the demon lord and a B-rank stellar mage, steps out and declares, "In this time of crisis, we won't leave anyone behind." While she has good intentions, Kamnak-Ok loses his mind. "Don't you dare stop me from respawning." He turns around and yells, "Don't even think about it. The guy punches the rock wall, but it doesn't budge at all. In fact, his arm hurts like hell. Nakok frowns in extreme annoyance. Seriously, sticking your nose in other people's business is really rude. You stupid woman. Lo Bangdi is speechless, stunned in her heart. Stupid. You're calling me a stupid woman. Lu Thiet points at him and shouts, How dare you speak to Her Highness like that? Nakok smirks and looks back. Hey, don't underestimate a man's resolve. Her Highness Bangdi turns bright red, thinking, Why didn't I notice Nakok had this kind of masculine charm before? The remaining demons grimace. Let's go ignore him. If he wants to die, let him die. Yueao still kept a tough attitude to the very end, claiming that for so long, he had only known how to hide, so what was there to fear from the humans? As a brave demon, he begged them to let him die with honor. That's how much he bluffed. But the moment he turned away, the young man just prayed that no one would stop him this time. Princess Bingdi heard this and was moved to tears, looking at him with reluctance. Still, Liu Tai pulled her hand, saying, Your Highness, let's go. Yueao dashed outside as if he had been set free. After running for a while, he encountered the Blue Dragon Gang. He spread his arms wide, shouting, Come on, my loves! 1/ for 999. If you're a man, come and cut me down. Seeing a walking experience pack step out, the humans immediately rushed over with their weapons. Yueao felt happy because he was about to be reincarnated. Humanity, I'm coming back. Suddenly, an arrow flew in, followed by countless others raining down on the Blue Dragon Gang, causing them heavy casualties. Liu Tai fell into a short-term demon's pride state. Entering a state of boiling emotions, one can increase combat power and even trigger a permanent rank upgrade. He grandly declared, It's been 3 years. I've almost forgotten that year. How we followed the Demon Lord into battle on the front lines. After the humans won, they didn't stop invading our lands. Because we didn't resist, they kept attacking, plundering, and treating demon lives like mere grass. By constantly compromising like this, we even started to think of ourselves as the weak ones. Little Cam is right, Liu Tai said, patting his shoulder as if he were genuinely comforting him. Meanwhile, Cam Yueao, who had just lost a chance to die, loathed him to the core. Every demon stepped out with great momentum. Fired up, everyone entered the demon's pride state. Your Highness, Bingdi declared that today was the time for the demons to rise up. The Blue Syndicate members were terrified, crying, What is this? Yueao was terrified too, thinking, Don't tell me this bunch of demons is being riled up by me. B-rank mage star system, evolve, A-rank. In the demon's pride state, Bingdi declared, We cannot be missing a single one. The humans were scared out of their wits. Obviously, the demon crowd was all B-rank, so how could there be an A-rank here? It was a strategy to leapfrog ranks. Bingdi created a giant, massive sphere of heavenly fire judgment stones, bringing down a powerful earthquake just like that. The once famed Blue Syndicate was wiped out. Yueao stood there dumbfounded, having lost all emotion. Not only did he not die, but he also leveled up, defeated the Blue Syndicate, and reaped the rewards. 10,230 experience points, leveled up 10 times, reaching D-rank demon status. Thus, his first day as a demon, his death plan was a total failure. In the capital of the Cloud Kingdom, inside the Huo family palace, a soldier rushed in to report. Mei Du Tao, one of the 3 great demon commanders, spoke with a very serious look. You say the suspension bridge effect plan failed spectacularly. Yes, Lord Demon Commander. We had calculated the timing very carefully, anticipating that when Your Highness was surrounded by the Blue Syndicate, and all fell into despair. Young Master Wu Jun would lead demon soldiers to the rescue, performing a classic hero saving the beauty act, finally stepping over the corpses of the humans to hold Her Highness in his arms. That way, under the influence of this suspension bridge effect, Her Highness would fall in love with young Master Wu Jun. But who would have thought that in the critical moment, Her Highness would suddenly enter the demon's pride state? She directly defeated the Blue Syndicate. Word has it that it even triggered Her Highness's Queen's power. Mei Du Tao turned to the demon general, Huan, another of the 3 great demon commanders, to ask, General, so what should we do now? Huo An propped his hand up and growled, Military power is in my hands. With our status as the 3 great demon commanders, we can just force her to marry my son. Who would dare object? Summon my son tonight, and tomorrow lead the troops to propose. I had long confirmed that this damned suspension bridge effect was completely useless. In another turn of events, they didn't know that the effect was actually completely useful. But it was useful for someone else. Bing Di. She hadn't gone a single second without thinking about Cam Yueao. Lu Miney, bring little Cam here later. I want to reward him. The little maid covered her mouth and giggled. Reward him, Your Highness, I understand. I'll go right now. Bing Di stood there, bewildered, not understanding why the maid was more excited than she was. In another turn of events, Yueao was blankly sitting there chugging several bottles of liquor. The system screen sent a notification. Your skills have not been selected. 120 attribute points have not been distributed. Thinking of this, Yueao went crazy and cursed. Damn it! I have to distribute them. If I distribute them, won't it be harder for me to die? Shut your mouth. But immediately after, the screen displayed D-rank elite demon. All base attributes times 400%. Strength 56, speed 41, stamina. Go 61 elemental power, 9 spirit power 11. Total 120 points. He started to think, D-rank should still be very easy to kill, but this place is very far from the humans. Who could... come and take me out. Just then, the little maid excitedly ran up to open the door, grinning deviously. Cam Yueao, Her Highness is looking for you. The young man turned his haggard, dazed face around. Lu Miney, I'm coming right now. Seeing his state made the little maid panic. What do you want to do? You're drunk. After pulling Lu Miney into the room, he said decisively, Hurry up. Only you can help me. Quickly finish me off. The girl didn't understand what he was thinking. Her face turned red and she acted shy. What? That's... Really? She thought to herself. Little Cam usually doesn't say a word. Is he playing like this because he's drunk? But today is not the time. Today you belong to Her Highness. Immediately, the young man was presented to Her Highness, Bing Di. Bing Di leaned back, acting coquettish. Cam Yueao, for your heroic performance on the passage today, I have specifically bestowed upon you the title of Most Heroic First-Class Merit. From now on, you may freely enter and leave the palace. Additionally, I am specially rewarding you with the King of Slaughter outfit. This will help you become a true hero. Minhe's eyes lit up upon hearing this. Your Highness, this reward is the holy battle armor of the previous demon lord. This is a legendary treasure. Even the Highness herself couldn't bear to use it. The Slaughter King's set is the complete combat attire of the former demon lord, who conquered far and wide with it. The armor's effect is god tier. It massively boosts the wearer's combat power. He looked at it with total disinterest, thinking to himself, I wonder what this junk is good for. With the reward in hand, the young man brazenly turned around, walked straight to the door, and gave a cold reply. No. Anything else, I'm heading back. Bang Di and Mai Ni were stunned, never expecting him to be so calm. This only made Bang Di even more flustered. He has truly changed so much. So calm. Seeing him walk out, Wei Ming, one of the 3 great demon commanders of the Yun Kingdom, felt a wave of irritation. No wonder I was called to the palace in the middle of the night. So it was to give this legendary battle gear to some lowly grunt. Isn't this just escaping after a brave show? Wei Ming spoke up loudly for Nak-Ok to hear. This level of reward should be presented in front of the demon god sneaking around. Like a thief. This is no way for a national ruler to act. After saying this, he fumed inwardly. I've been itching to go against the Yun Kingdom my whole life, yet you Liu Thiet and Bang Di act like you see nothing. Not a single word of praise for me is this to force me to side with the Dark Demon General from tomorrow on. Seeing him, Nak-Ok nonchalantly called out, Oh, old man. Hearing himself called that, Wei Ming snapped. What? Still want to act smug with me, huh? All right, this shameless brat was still acting so arrogant. Just as he was having dark thoughts, Nak-Ok did something shocking. He handed the armor set to him. Here, this set. I'm giving it to you. Wei Ming was shocked beyond belief. He roared, What, you're giving it to me? Nak-Ok replied with total sincerity. That's right. You're really trying to die, aren't you? This piece of trash. If you give it to me, who even needs it? He was just looking for a random excuse to throw it out to change his situation. Nahak made up a story that sounded totally real. His Highness knows of your hard work for the Yun Kingdom all these years, so he specifically ordered me to give this to you. You must keep it well. Saying that, he turned around and walked off. Wei Ming stood there completely confused. He thought, I must have misunderstood the Highness. He wailed miserably, Your Highness, I am unworthy. The way I thought just now. I'm a beast, a degenerate. Damn it, I have sinned from this day on. I will serve you until my death. After handling the situation in such a bizarre way, Nahak sat alone in a corner and sighed. Looks like I can't end it here. Must find somewhere else to die tomorrow. Suddenly, there were voices nearby. He immediately perked up his ears. Young master, you're back. Yes, why did father call for me so urgently? Young master, the Grand General has decided to act tomorrow. At that time, he will lead the Royal Demon Guard to represent the 3 great demon commanders in the court on behalf of the Highness. To propose marriage. If anyone dares to disobey, he will execute them without mercy. Hearing there was a chance to die, Nahak fell into a state of ecstasy. In that case, I'll stay right here for one more day. On the second day at the Yun Kingdom Hall, a group of people was meeting with Bang Di. Nahak felt dizzy and exhausted. Who knew the demon race could be this full of bureaucratic nonsense in the morning? Hurry up and get to the point. Huan cupped his hands and spoke respectfully. Your Highness, you have observed the mourning period for the Demon Lord for 3 years. Your honorable return to the throne today is cause for celebration. The human army is still restless 100 miles away. Thanks to the Grand General. Guarding us, we were able to protect our city. Bang Di's eyes widened. The Grand General is truly amazing. Ever since my grandfather's time, you have always commanded the army to guard the Yun Kingdom. You must be rewarded. Huan stood firm and replied aggressively, Since your Highness is so sincere, I have something to say. Then he called his son forward. Wu Jun, come here. Please, your Highness, grant my son a marriage. After all, the 2 of you grew up together. Bang Di, naive and misunderstanding the situation, excitedly asked, Wow, 3 years no see Wu Jun, do you have someone you like? No sooner had she finished than Huan went straight to the point. I ask your Highness to marry my son Wu Jun. Bang Di was shocked, mouth agape. What, General, please don't joke like that. Wu Jun and I are just... Huan put on a confrontational face. Whether you like him or not is irrelevant. Before the greater good, everything else must be put aside. The demon race has never had a woman hold the reins of power for 1,000 years. Rumors are spreading everywhere. If the people lose faith in the Yun Kingdom after your Highness ascends, you will surely face a rebellion. But if you marry Wu Jun, then you can silence the world. The guys behind him added their voices, putting on sympathetic faces. That makes sense. That's right. It's a good thing young Master Wu Jun is handsome and brave. He really is an excellent choice. Lu Thiet couldn't stand it anymore. This bastard is using nonsense reasons to force the Highness. Bang Di lowered her head, looking unhappy and hesitant. Nahak felt like he had found a golden opportunity and lunged forward. Liu Thiet couldn't stop him in time. Shao Kahn, what are you doing? In reality, he was just thinking that if he crashed this, they would definitely execute him. On the spot. Nahak grabbed Bang Di's hand and shouted, Hey, don't let that old man fool you. Everyone has the right to pursue their own happiness. Bang Di looked at him with intense emotion, but he thought, I, Nahak, am determined to act until the end just to die. Old man, who gave you the guts to push the leader around? Wei Ming looked at Nahak, startled. This young man. Bang Di was so distraught she burst into tears. I'm sorry, Grand Chancellor, Huan continued, his voice growing sterner. I ask myself, have I not dedicated my whole life to the Yun Kingdom? Today is the first time in 2 generations that a demon lord has rewarded me. The Grand General honored by the gods. I advise your Highness, think carefully before answering. As he said that, he radiated murderous intent. Lu Thiet could no longer sit idly by. Are you trying to force the monarch to abdicate retreat this instant? Wei Ming also grew angry and chimed in. Huan, watch your actions. Huan declared confidently. Military power is in my hands. If you've abdicated, why haven't you stepped down yet? Famin snapped, her voice laced with bitterness. "Watch your tone," Huan declared, brimming with confidence. "All military power is in my hands." Bang Di looked exhausted. "Everyone stop, the general has a point. I promise I will not." Before she could even finish her sentence, Nak-Ok burst into loud mocking laughter, just to ruin the mood. "Ha, women, huh? Is this how you handle things? Did your father not pass down a single ounce of his royal authority to you?" Then he looked at Hok-Am with the most condescending expression imaginable, leaning in so close that Nak-Ok's own face looked completely twisted and ugly. Face to face, he sneered. "Interesting. Tell me, senior elder who gave you that military power, are you some kind of lapdog now, or are you just the local gopher? Abusing your power to bully people, are you?" Hok-Am had never been insulted like this before, and was absolutely shocked. You bastard! What did you just say?" Nak-Ok continued to play the hero, saving the damsel in distress, just to drive the old man further into a rage. She is the Matan, her status is above everyone, not to mention her natural 360-degree flawless beauty. And your son. What makes him worthy of her, provoking not just the father but the son too? Hok-Am was so angry he nearly exploded. "Who the hell are you? In this world, aside from my son, who else could possibly be more worthy?" Nak-Ok held his own distorted, ugly face, feigning satisfaction as he replied, "Well, 2 days ago, inside the cave, the two of us, we already made a lifelong commitment." Nak-Ok finished covering his mouth to giggle happily. "I don't believe it. I bet the moment I finish saying this, you're going to want to stab me. Hey. Go on then. Hurry up and do it." On the other side, Lu Thiet was still in shock. Did Little Cam actually dare to insult the Grand General like that? As for Bang Di, she couldn't help but feel moved and impressed. Little Cam really does have a connection with His Highness. The murmurs from the crowd below grew louder. "Back when His Highness was surrounded by the Lamsack Guild, I heard it was this kid who stepped up for her. Is it him? I've never seen this guy before. Never seen this person in my life." Nak-Ok just wanted to kick the bucket as soon as possible, but what he was doing was making Her Highness swoon. "I never expected him to go this far just for me." Hok-Am gritted his teeth, his voice trembling with fury. You're asking for death." Nak-Ok was in his element, immediately sticking his neck out to taunt him. Yes. Come on then. If you've got the guts, take me out. Make it quick, I can't wait." Hok-Am roared in terror, regretting that he had insulted a Ma General and offended Her Highness. "You have committed a capital offense. Today I will settle the score with you." His power flared, causing everyone nearby to bolt in fear. "Get back. This is the Ma General's ultimate technique. The Hotch Lam. This is it. We're done for." A lethal blow flew straight at Nak-Ok, sending him flying backward. He was on the verge of being wiped out, but he still wore a smug smile. "Haktin Na, wait for me. Finally we can meet." The young man was already imagining their reunion, but the moment of joy didn't last long. After a deafening explosion, a figure was still visible behind the raging flames. Voquan was stunned, falling backward in disbelief, unable to trust his own eyes. How is this possible? As for Nak-Ok, a Ma Order military badge appeared above his head, successfully blocking the lethal blow. The system notified him. Because you were granted the level 40 Ma Order, you have successfully promoted to an A-rank demon. Passive skill, defense reinforcement, activated Mao. When HP drops below 30%, all defense increases 5-fold. After being hit 15 times, you will automatically recover a portion of the damage. This damage can also be a critical hit. Nak-Ok was confused, but the crowd behind them stood there with their jaws on the floor, completely frozen. "Your Highness, you gave him the Ma military order." This was the Ma order that a Matan could only use once in their lifetime. Any demon granted it represents the Matan's absolute trust and gains experience along with a protective barrier. It is what the Matan has accumulated over the years, and it also carries the responsibility of commanding military power in the future. Bang Di stepped forward with an imposing, resolute demeanor and a powerful voice. "My grandfather and father once bestowed this Ma military order upon you. From this day forward, you are the commander of the 3 armies. You have led the Van Kingdom's soldiers through life and death. Today I bestow this Ma order upon Cam Nak-Ok. From now on, Cam Nak-ok is the right general commanding alongside General Hok-am over our entire demon army. Hok-am was silently calculating in his head. So that's your game, Liu Bangdi. You want to use a kid to balance out my military power. Let's see who will actually respect him or follow his orders. Finished with his thoughts, he looked around and stopped at Wei Min, the first to bow in congratulations. Greetings, Right General. Congratulations, General Cam, on commanding the 3 armies. Liu Thiet followed suit, bowing politely. Greetings, Right General. Seeing the 2 seniors express their stance, everyone in the hall knelt down, bowing in unison. Greetings, General Cam. Congratulations, General Cam. Nak-ok stood there. With a blank expression on his face, he thought to himself, damn it, I feel like I just ate literal trash. Hok-am clenched his fists, his killing intent flaring up. A single Ma order can prove Her Highness's trust in him, but tell me a person who has never led an army into battle. How can he convince these battle-hardened demons? You want me to share my military power? Forget it. Let's just let him try entering the ancestral demon cave. Liu Ven, our ancestor, was the only king of the tribe. Only those recognized by the ancestor are worthy of wielding royal power. If he can make it through the ancestral demon cave, I will personally hand over my command seal. Liu Thiet suddenly roared in anger. What a nasty, crafty old man you are, that place. For almost 100 years, no one has come out of there alive. What are you trying to do? Wei Min retorted. General Cam just proved his ability. Are you going to defy the order now? Liu Bangdi shouted, absolutely not. The demon cave has long been considered a forbidden zone. Entering it only leads to death. It proves nothing. Hearing this, Nak-ok's eyes suddenly lit up with an innocent, perhaps too innocent look. No one has survived in nearly 100 years, yet you say it only leads to death. Hok-am laughed coldly. Exactly. That just proves you're all nothing but a bunch of rats. Cam Nak-ok raised his hand, his tone frank and without hesitation. The Grand General makes a good point. I completely agree, so where is that demon cave? I'll go right now. As soon as he finished his sentence, everyone around them stared mouths agape, unable to believe what they had just heard. 100 years ago, the demon race faced a great crisis. The ancestor of the Liu clan, the Ma Tan, sacrificed himself to protect the race. He sealed his final demonic source in a demon cave, waiting for the next king to be approved by the ancestor. But for the last 100 years, no demon has ever been able to pass that trial. Wei Ming spoke up bitterly. To enter the demon cave, you need a team. Besides General Cam, who else dares to bring their subordinates in? The crowd below began to buzz. That's right. That place is way too dangerous. Who wants to go there and die? Maybe we should just forget it. We shouldn't force this. Hok-am ignored the commotion. His voice rang out cold and detached. If he can't even find a companion to enter the demon cave, he'll have to figure it out himself. How can he manage a massive army if he can't even manage this? A hand shot up from the crowd decisively. I'm ready to go. The person was none other than the fire attribute A-rank demon lieutenant, Hoak Vo Quan. Hok-am's face darkened. Do you hear yourself? Who gave you permission to decide this on your own? Vo Quan replied, completely unfazed. Father, do you think I'm not as good as him? Someone behind him looked worried. No way. You are the future of the Van Kingdom. How can you take such a risk? Vo Quan pointed at himself with a look of pure confidence. Only those blessed by the ancestors are worthy of possessing royal power. If a royal ruler is to emerge in the Van Kingdom, it will definitely be me. Gasps of admiration rippled through the crowd. As expected of young Master Vo Quan, only he has such courage and skill. Hok-am felt his head spinning, not knowing what to say. Outside the palace, Nyidu Tao watched them, her tone full of encouragement. Young Master going this time is the right choice. That Cam guy actually has no real power. He's not like you, young Master. You've been a prodigy since you were little. You absolutely cannot let him steal your spotlight again. You can take action while inside the demon cave. Find the right opportunity and finish that brat off directly. Hok Vo Quan fixed his hair, his voice dripping with smugness. I'm handsome, but I'm not stupid. I know what to do. Scene change. In a room, Lo Mai Ni whispered, Huak Vo Quan is arrogant, cruel, and selfish. He will never allow a younger person to outshine him. When the time comes, he will definitely stab you in the back. You have to be careful. Hearing the words, stab in the back, Nak-Ok couldn't help but chuckle to himself, thinking, oh, so my chances of being sabotaged just went up. Vemin laughed heartily and added, General Cam, I've brought the best stamina and healing potions in the Von Kingdom. The Demon Cave is extremely dangerous. You must prioritize your safety. Nak-Ok made an annoyed face, saying, you guys are really being way too extra. The next day, at the ancestral Demon Cave Mountain, Huak Vo Quan Kam Nak-Oka and Lo Mai Ni stood at the altar. Nak-Ok handed all the potions over to Vo Quan. Lo Mai Ni asked, are you both ready? At this moment, everyone remained unaware that the Demon King, who would affect the entire world, was about to be born. A shout rang out. Go! Lo Mai Ni cast a spell to activate the magic circle. Scene changed to the ancestral trial dungeon. A notification appeared. B-rank spirit type North Tracker, highly skilled at stealth. Huak Vo Quan scanned his surroundings. Who knows what kind of monsters are in this cave? Cam Nak-Ok recalled the earlier conversation. Vo Quan is arrogant, cruel, and selfish. He will never allow a younger person to outshine him. When the time comes, he will definitely stab you in the back. You must be careful. He couldn't miss this chance to be harmed. Nak-Ok opened his arms, acting incredibly pathetic. Hey, sweetie, I'm totally defenseless right now. I've only got one piece of white-tier common gear on. My defense is trash. Vo Quan heard this and couldn't even fathom what the hell he was doing. In a situation where the enemy was unknown, he dared to expose himself like that. Nak-Ok wore an arrogant smile, thinking, now I've laid everything out for you to see. Hurry up and make your move. It seemed he had taken the bait. Huak Vo Quan immediately drew his sharp sword. Nak-Ok smirked. Just as I expected. Here it comes. Suddenly a blue flower appeared out of nowhere. It didn't just fly. The flower could talk too. Its thorns morphed and zipped past Nak-Ok's face. The small flower then transformed into a little demon. Vo Quan rushed in immediately, using a lethal strike to finish it off. Nak-Ok hadn't even processed what happened before hundreds of bats fell from the sky aiming straight for them. Vo Quan didn't hesitate. He created hundreds of flower petals that morphed into a giant demon. With a snap of his fingers, the sharp petals turned into blades, attacking and wiping out the entire swarm of bats in the cave. Vo Quan turned back, looking at Nak-Ok. You realized there were stealthy ghost bats around, didn't you? Using this move to flush the snakes out of their hole, deliberately revealing a weakness to make them appear, then letting a powerful demon like me land a one-hit kill. But don't think you can catch up to me just by doing that. Nak-Ok couldn't help but clap in praise. Wow, I really didn't expect your brain to work like that, improvising the story yourself. That's clever. I hadn't thought of that part. Vo Quan smiled proudly at the praise. Obviously. Then he shouted, assassination, and unleashed his ultimate technique, Floral Wind. Nak-Ok was left standing there with a dumbfounded look. He had only meant to expose his own position, so the guy would stab him in the back. As a result, this idiot thought they were actually cooperating. The monsters all swarmed towards him because to the monsters he dealt such high damage that he became the primary target. The end result. The idiot Vo Quan didn't take me out, and the monsters didn't even touch me. Risk level 0. I just became the safest person here. I'll have to lead those monsters to kill me later. He wore a cunning smile. System notification: A-rank Demon Elite. All base stats multiplied by 600%. Available points to distribute 480. So Nak-Ok still had 480 unassigned attribute points. Huak Vo Quan and Nak-Ok continued deeper into the map. Vo Quan glanced at Nak-Ok, but still didn't make a move. Could it be that he really has no skill and is just a loser? Suddenly the system blared. Beep danger danger. Triggering dungeon script, battle to protect the king's messenger. The notification explained. Challenge difficulty A rank. Challenge time 20 minutes. Victory condition. Defend against the king's messenger's siege. Note: The messenger in front of you has no weaknesses. Just then, 5 A-rank monsters appeared, collectively known as the Demon King's envoys. Voquan, full of killing intent, didn't hesitate, turned around to attack first and shouted, "Towers." He continued using his old technique, but facing this move, the flame demon easily burned the petals away. Voquan looked furious. On the side, the fire demon sat crouched as if resting casually, charging up energy, then suddenly hurled a fireball straight at Voquan. A massive, deafening explosion rang out. When the flames dispersed, Voquan was still standing there, completely unharmed, his gaze calm. But from within the fire, 2 vines like arrows shot out. Caught off guard, Voquan was tightly bound by the thorny vines. It turned out this move came from the thorn demon, who was cackling with glee. He glanced at Nok-Ok, seeing him still ignoring everything and not offering any help. A bitter realization welled up. So he really is just a piece of trash. Oh, that I actually looked up to. Meanwhile, Nok-Ok was panting, looking like he just finished doing something extremely impressive, silently praising himself, as expected of me. In truth, he had just dumped all 480 attribute points. I'm straight into strength, without adding a single point to defense, just waiting to deal enough damage to pull the monster's aggro onto himself. Voquan was grinding his teeth in anger. Sure enough, no one in this world compares to me. He roared, the burst of power shattering the thorny vines on the spot. Without delay, Voquan immediately attacked the thorn demon, continuously shouting, "Go to hell!" He snapped his fingers, Dasher detonating a sphere of magic power. A heaven-shaking explosion occurred. Voquan struck an incredibly cool pose, but unfortunately, that demon possessed 90% damage immunity. It was completely unaffected, and even laughed mockingly in his face. Seeing the monster's armor wasn't broken, Voquan turned pale. He finally understood that the envoys before him had no weaknesses, meaning their defensive power was insanely high. Another envoy quickly unleashed a gravitational circle, pulling Voquan into the center immediately. The remaining envoys also appeared, surrounding him. Meanwhile, Nok-Ok was sneakily moving behind an envoy, clenching his fist, preparing for a sneak attack. His punch flew out, piercing straight through the fire demon's body. The attack, named Severing Strike, began the disintegration process. After recovering, they all simultaneously shifted their aggro target to Nok-Ok. A steel demon roared in anger, releasing him. Nok-Ok stared, stuttering. "Huh, the envoy exploded just like that." He was stunned, so dumping all points into strength yield such terrifying power. Voquan stood frozen. With just one strike, Nok-Ok blew up a demon envoy. He fell silent, deep in thought. So their weakness is on their back, and all this time, Nok-Ok was patiently waiting without acting, just to make the monsters turn their backs to him. Thinking of this, Voquan couldn't help but burst into laughter. "Ha ha, Nok-Ok, you really are interesting." At the same time, the demon envoys had tightly surrounded Nok-Ok. A system notification rang out. Due to dealing extremely high damage, Nok-Ok had triggered the taunt effect, becoming the primary attack target for all the monsters. The young man smiled with satisfaction. My plan actually worked. Now their target is me. The system reminded him, a rank envoy of the evil dragon. The demon with blood-red eyes had officially locked onto him. Nok-Ok thought to himself, an A-rank demon. Their attack power is extremely high. With my current defense, one hit and I'm toast. He spread his arms wide and laughed loudly. "Come at me. I'm about to return to the human realm anyway." Amidst the shimmering light around him, he held his head high, waiting for the finishing blow. Suddenly, a blue flower appeared in midair, and a voice rang out, "Thorn, transformation, poison piercing." Voquan quickly attacked the demon, creating countless fatal cuts. The monster's body was sliced into pieces. Only 3 evil dragon envoys remained. Nok-Ok stood with his mouth agape, looking at the scene before him. Voquan turned back, smiling arrogantly. "That was your strategy. Their weakness is the back. I taunt them so you can attack. You taunt them so I can attack." He winked playfully. "I get it now. Brothers in life and death." Because of the extremely high damage, the taunt effect shifted again. All the monsters redirected their attacks back to Voquan. Nok-Ok held his head and wailed miserably. "Brothers, my foot! What do you get?" It was so hard to lure them into attacking me. Seeing the demon envoys starting to leave, he shouted loudly, "You guys come back here!" In a fit of rage, Nakok threw a punch into the air, hoping to lure them back. But who would have thought this one punch would send another demon off to meet their ancestors? The monster collapsed, its body slowly dissolving under the bewildered gazes of the two remaining ones. The taunt effect immediately shifted back to Nakok. He stuck his tongue out, teasing them provocatively. "Come on, come and get me, na-na-na." Triumphantly, he struck a cool pose in the middle of the battlefield, ready to be beaten to a pulp. But right then, Voquan suddenly lunged in. He delivered a kick straight to an envoy's face. As a result, the taunt mode shifted onto Voquan again. He immediately turned and ran shouting as he ran, "Come and get me." In Voquan's head, he thought this was the plan Nakok had calculated from the start, while Nakok was red with anger, screaming, "Don't leave!" In his fury, Nakok threw another punch, and the result was sending another envoy off to the ancestors. He screamed, "Damn it, used too much strength again." At this moment, Phavawa, the lightning demon slowly turned its head, looking at Nakok with cold eyes. Nakok thought to himself, heart pounding, "This is my last chance." He muttered as if praying, "Just give me one hit." The envoy didn't hold back, swinging its blade straight toward Nakok. He smiled radiantly, his heart filled with joy, waiting for the upcoming reincarnation. But just at the moment, he thought he was about to succeed. He only heard two cold words, "Severing strike." All of Nakok's hopes instantly vanished into thin air. He stood frozen, staring at the scene. The demon envoys were completely wiped out. Voquan muttered to himself proudly, "This kind of combat coordination is truly invincible. Who would have thought we'd work so well together?" Nakok's face changed, almost turning to stone. "Work well together? What the hell? Why did we try so hard only for you to kill them all?" Voquan pointed straight at him, declaring with a solemn face, "I now acknowledge that you are worthy of being the man who will compete with me for supremacy in the future." Right at that moment, "Upper pot ho lao purpa." The demon cave shook violently, the ground cracking open as flashes of blue lightning sparkled brilliantly. A fierce voice echoed throughout the space. "Ha ha! It's been decades since anyone dared to enter this demon cave. I thought there were no more young demons who dared to challenge my authority." Blinding light surged, forcing both of them to raise their hands to cover their eyes. A giant dragon, with blood-red eyes, slowly emerged from the light. A voice as heavy as burning fire rang out. "Congratulations on passing the trial. Now for the final challenge." A system notification appeared right before their eyes. SS rank, Evil Dragon Lu Van. The Evil Dragon continued, "Between the two of you at most, only one can leave the demon cave alive. You have 10 minutes. The survivor will receive the title of king and the Evil Dragon's reward. Otherwise, I will kill you both." Voquan's ears rang at the news. What does he want us to kill each other? A dark thought crept into his mind. I am the future of the Van Kingdom. I absolutely cannot die. But the opponent's strength is unfathomable. And as for me, Nakok was grinning from ear to ear, his heart rejoicing as if it were a festival. My time has come, even the heavens are helping me. This is the most direct opportunity for me to die by Voquan's hand. He thought to himself, this guy looks gentle, and so confident. It seems he's determined to win. I definitely cannot just lose to him. Without hesitation, Nakok stripped off his armor, threw it on the ground, and said bluntly, if only one person can make it out alive, then hurry up and do it. Hoak Voquan frowned, his eyes full of suspicion. Was he preparing another scheme to trick him into attacking? Nakok immediately reassured him, patting his chest. Relax, buddy. I don't have any hidden weapons. Nothing on me but these pants. You just need to give me one solid strike, and you'll earn the title of king and the reward. You'll become the only new generation king in the world today. Voquan remained vigilant, pulling out his weapon and asking coldly, what kind of game are you playing? We're one step away from success and you want to give up. Nakok cursed internally. You're so annoying, why are you stalling? Just attack, Voquan shouted. You've already gained the prince's trust. And secured the military command, yet you've come to this. Besides, your attack power isn't weak at all. A normal strike of yours could defeat an A+ rank evil dragon envoy. If we really fought, I'm not even sure I could easily beat you. Why are you surrendering? Pretending to be sad, Nakok said in a low voice. Because the Van Kingdom cannot exist without the Hoke family. Hoke-am was a loyal veteran who gave everything for the Van Kingdom, and you are its future a young hero. I'm merely a nobody, and with a bit of good luck, that's all. Compared to your life, I'm not worth mentioning. For the sake of all the demon race, I must die. Hearing this, Hoak Vo Quan fell silent, lowering his head. In his mind, he suddenly heard the voice of his mother from years ago. One day you must become a youth who carries the world in his heart. Vo Quan, our demon race can only be truly strong if we are united. He called out, his voice choking with emotion. Mother, I have truly been disgraced. His gaze darkened. He thought to himself, facing someone with such a grand vision for the future of the entire demon race, willing to sacrifice his own life, while I was busy suspecting him of using dirty tricks to lure me in. He thinks of the demon race's survival, while I only thought of the title of king. The voice of Liu Van Ta Long echoed throughout the demon cave. 8 minutes remaining for the penalty. If you don't attack, I will kill you all. Nakok snapped in frustration. Hey, hurry up and attack. What are you still thinking about? Vo Quan said calmly. The Ghost King just said if we don't eliminate the opponent within 10 minutes, we're all done for. I, on the contrary, want to try a different approach. As he spoke, he crouched down like a dragon gathering its strength. Power erupted from his body, coalescing into a brilliant blue stream of energy. Vo Quan shouted, Flower blooms. The blinding blue light shone directly at Liu Van Ta Long. The evil dragon narrowed its eyes, tracking his movements, but when it realized what was happening, Hoi Tao, Dai Kia, it roared in anger. You dare to shatter the barrier, In that instant, Vo Quan entered a heroic state, evolving straight from A rank to A+. He turned his head to look at Nakok and said softly, How about we deal with this Ta Long together? Opposite him, Liu Van Ta Long laughed maniacally. Haha, you really don't know your own limits, Vo Quan announced with a confident look. Now my body is completely overflowing with power. Growth achieved assassin attributes, strength plus 100% speed, plus 200%. Without further hesitation, Vo Quan and the evil dragon charged at each other. They launched into a grand battle, 800 rounds of combat that shrouded the entire battlefield in dust and smoke. Nakok stood outside, shrugging in frustration. Why did he have to draw his sword? He muttered, annoyed. Why does he like complicating such simple things? As the battle reached its climax, Liu Van Ta Long unleashed its Liu Van Mirage technique, while Hoak Vo Quan countered with his signature move, Flowery Finger. But the Ta Long's speed was a beat faster. A wave of blue energy exploded, blowing Vo Quan away, but he didn't give up easily. Vo Quan used his movement technique to leap into the air and unleashed a critical strike, slashing at Liu Van Ta Long's health bar. 150 health points. He couldn't help but exclaim. Its health bar is so thick, Vo Quan used an assassin skill to fly straight in. The energy attack from Liu Van Ta Long shot towards him instantly, but he dodged it using an afterimage. Not missing the opportunity, Vo Quan unleashed thousands of slashes, shaving off a huge chunk of health. He landed looking cool as the system notification sounded. The Liu Van Ta Long has become the priority target. The evil dragon roared in anger. It curled up and launched an attack, knocking Vo Quan away like a ball. The blow was so powerful that he couldn't stand up for a moment. Nakok watched the scene, his heart sinking as he broke into a cold sweat. No, if he dies right now, I might actually end up becoming the king. Seeing the evil dragon gathering power, preparing to launch its dragon breath attack, Nakok gritted his teeth, and lunged forward, shielding Vo Quan. He spread his arms wide and took the full force of the attack. A shocking explosion erupted. His health bar plummeted by 2,000 points. Vo Quan's eyes widened in shock at the sight. Nakok crumpled blood spewing from his mouth like a fountain. His health bar was down to a third. For anyone else, that hit would have been fatal, but he still managed to stay standing, truly a miracle. Vo Quan gritted his teeth, intense emotions surging in his heart. Why did Nakok help me take such a fatal blow? Without hesitation, he pulled out a high-level recovery potion, restoring 10,000 health points, and threw it straight at Nakok. Under the potion's effect, Nakok's health bar refilled instantly. Leaving him gaping in surprise, he turned around shouting furiously, "You!" But before he could finish, Hokvo Kwan was already bombarding him with items. Van Chi Steel Reinforcement Compound, Resistance plus 50, Healing Compound, Recovery plus 50, and Defensive Potion, Defense plus 500. Nak-ok stood there frozen, screaming internally. My suicide plan is ruined. Without giving him time to protest, Hokvo Kwan urged him, "Start fighting. My suicide plan has gone down the drain." Without giving him any time to react, Huo Wujun pressed him, "Start the fight already." He then crafted a few health potions for himself, bracing for the grand battle, his heart heavy and weeping with silent, unspeakable pain. "I owe you so much," Huo Wujun said, taking a deep breath before charging into the fray, his aura shifting to a fierce, aggressive stance as he pounded on the Liu Yun evil dragon. The dragon roared in a maddened frenzy, unleashing a devastating strike directly at Wu Jun. But this time, using his rogue skills, Wu Jun dodged with incredible agility. Frustrated, the dragon immediately summoned its Dragon's Lightning skill, launching a massive bolt of lightning that caught him head-on. Wu Jun was sent flying like a kite with a broken string, crashing hard into the ground. Seeing this, Nak-ok didn't even stop to think, lunging forward to take the hit for his comrade. A blinding beam of light from the dragon's attack struck him squarely. Wu Jun stared in absolute disbelief. What kind of broken ability is this? It heals 100,000 health points per minute. Even if I spent my whole life training, I couldn't recover as fast as him, the dragon said with a scornful sneer, its cold eyes sweeping over them. Mere ants, yet you dream of slaying a god. It unleashed Dragon's Roar, a massive wave of power that swept them both away, shredding their health bars. Under the immense pressure, both quickly fell into a weakened, poisoned state. With their defenses shattered, they lay gasping on the ground, health points ticking away mercilessly. Gritting his teeth, Huo Wujun activated his defensive skill, Death Counter. It could negate one fatal blow, but it was a once-a-day ability. Their supplies were exhausted, and the Liu Yun evil dragon began charging energy in its maw. Its voice resonated like the Grim Reaper's. "Take this final strike." Wu Jun screamed in terror. "We're done for!" Meanwhile, Nak-ok still wore a bright, airy smile. "It's not over yet. Within 10 minutes, only one can survive. If I bite the dust, you can still complete the challenge. Hui Koan. And claim the title of sovereign." Wu Jun opened his eyes, wide voice trembling. "What are you talking about?" Not giving him time to think, the dragon unleashed its dragon's breath. In that split second, Nak-ok recklessly lunged forward, grabbed Wu Jun and threw him far away, screaming, "Live on the future of the demon! Race is yours!" Wu Jun could only wail, "No!" The last words of Nak-ok echoed in his ears. "Even though you're a demon, you aren't as detestable as the others." A deafening explosion shook the very foundations of space. Dust billowed everywhere. Wu Jun sat dazed on the ground, his eyes vacant, unable to believe this was reality. Just then, the evil dragon rose and roared, laughing like a maniac. "Ha ha! Congratulations! Finally someone has passed the trial." It lifted its head, its voice turning solemn. "Ancestors! The demon race has always sacrificed their lives to protect their people. Today you have inherited that very will." Above Huo Wu Jun's head, the words, "Acknowledged by the evil dragon as a sovereign," appeared. His health bar instantly refilled and the system chimed. 2 million experience points gained. Leveled up 4 times. Advanced to Grade A+ Demon and Grade A+ Elite Demon. All attributes increased by 700%. Obtained active level 5 skill Evil Dragon's Breath. However, for the past 200 years, anyone who reached this stage had to destroy their comrade to qualify as sovereign. Wu Jun fell silent, smiling bitterly as the dragon continued. "In the end, even if you survived alone, you wouldn't qualify. Only the two of you supporting each other and choosing to face hardships together, that trust unafraid of life or death, is the most precious quality a sovereign needs." Just then, through the dissipating smoke, a figure slowly stepped out. Nak-ok appeared looking incredibly cool. Above his head a golden text flashed, acknowledged by the evil dragon as a sovereign. Just like that, inside the cave, the two continued their relentless assault on the dragon. Its health bar was finally cut in half. Wu Jun remained steadfast, believing that with persistence they would surely win. The system announced rapidly, 5 million experience points gained, leveled up 10 times, became Grade A+ Demon and Grade A+ Elite Demon. All attributes increased by 700%. Received 120 attribute points. Obtained passive skill Grade SSS. Recovers 100,000 health points per minute. Nak-ok's eyes went wide, stunned stiff. Congratulations to Cam Nak-ok for passing the Ancestors trial. Achieved hidden title, Demon Sovereign. Switching scenes to the Yun Kingdom Palace, the atmosphere was chaotic. Mei Du Tao's jaw dropped, stuttering in disbelief. In just one afternoon, they passed the Demon Pit's ancestral trial. No one has ever walked out of there alive in 100 years. If so, could the prophecy be coming true? Will our generation really witness the Demon Sovereign unite the lands? Lu Bingti gasped, her eyes glowing. The Demon Sovereign is the heir of the ancestor, the Liu Yun evil dragon. Among all the demons in the world, it takes 100 years to produce one true sovereign. An aura will radiate from him that far surpasses all other demons. After being forged by the world, he will become a being revered by millions. In the corner, Huoan threw his head back and laughed. Haha. That's my son Huoan's pride and joy. Achieving the sovereign title is only natural. As he thought this, he felt quite pleased with his own judgment. But just then, someone hurried into the hall, bowed and said, "Reporting. The one who became sovereign is not Master Wu Jun." Huoan narrowed his eyes, crossing his arms and scoffing, "Who else could it be but my son?" The messenger smiled, pouring cold water on him. "It's General Cam." Huoan felt like he'd been struck by lightning. His eyes bulged as if they were about to pop out, shouting, "What Cam Nak-ok is the sovereign?" Meanwhile, at a tavern, the sovereign Nak-ok was in absolute agony. He leaned against the bar, the drink in his hand sloshing around his heart, shattered into pieces. The protagonist hugged his bottle, mumbling, "Give me 2 more bottles of Love Forgetter, sister." The barmaid with a soul as round as a peach beamed. "You're quite the drinker, friend." Nak-ok sighed like it was his final breath. "I have a total of 10,000 health points. How the hell am I supposed to die now?" Just then, the system notification chimed coldly. "You have a new skill that hasn't been equipped." Hearing this, he broke down and cried at the bar full of resentment. "There's absolutely no way to go back now. My beautiful girl." Nak-ok sobbed as he walked home. Suddenly, from a dark corner, a small head popped out, sneaking a look at him. Even though he was completely hammered by his instinct for booze, Nak-ok quickly spun around, but that side was empty. He saw no one. He shrugged and continued staggering on. Not a few steps later, that small head popped out to look again. This time, Nak-ok couldn't take it anymore, his eyes widening as he growled like a demon. "Are you following me?" The tiny little kid trips in fear, falling flat on the ground. With teary eyes, he whimpers, "No, I'm not scary. I'm not going to hurt you." A character profile pops up in front of the little demon rank D name, Tian Tue. Nak-ok crosses his arms, squints, and asks, "Speak up, why are you following me?" Tian Tue stammers, scratching his head with a blushing face. Please come with me to the Baklin Demon Cave. I'm willing to work like a dog for you." Glancing down, he notices a small notification badge on Tian Tue's clothes. "Congratulations, member. You have received 3 wish-granting opportunities. Please head to the Baklin Demon Cave to claim your reward." Nak-ok frowns. "What is the Baklin Demon Cave? Where is it?" Tian Tue hangs his head low. "Ever since I was born, I've heard of the Demon Cave. But since I'm not an adult yet, they wouldn't let me in. But I happened to see you walking out of another cave, so surely you must have a way to get me inside." A beggar sitting nearby, eavesdropping, shouts out too, "Hey, that's definitely a scam message. Who would be dumb enough to believe that?" In his drunken haze, Nak-ok squints and smiles mischievously. "Any wish can come true." The beggar continues to ramble. "And you actually believe that Nak-Ok, looking completely spaced out, mutters, "I've heard that the demon tribe has something called the wish spring that can grant wishes, but you have to go through countless trials, pay money, and all that stuff." Tiantiu laughs softly and says, "Well, my luck is hit or miss, but this is my last chance anyway." The boy looks up, his voice serious. "I've spent all the money I earned for the Baklin Club just to buy this spot. My mom has heart failure and only has a month to live. I need to find a suitable heart quickly to save her." Hearing this, even the beggar feels moved. This kid is truly pitiful, but no idiot is going to be stupid enough to go with you. Nak-Ok calmly points at himself and beams, "I'll go with you." He coolly adds, "But you have to give me one of your wishes." Nak-Ok thinks to himself, "Nice. I'll just wish to be reincarnated as a human, and that's it. I'm a genius." Tiantiu nods eagerly. "I'll give you 2 wishes, that's fine too." Nak-Ok laughs, slapping Tiantiu on the shoulder. "You're very generous. I just need my mom to live. That's enough." The beggar at the corner doesn't want to get involved anymore. He just shakes his head, muttering, "You guys are a strangely perfect match." He sighs and clicks his tongue. "Kid, you're very filial. Don't worry, your mom will be saved." Tiantiu is overwhelmed with emotion and shouts, "Uncle, thank you." Nak-Ok waves his hand, "Call me brother." The beggar lets out a loud huff and yells, "Since you won't listen, I'll tell you right now. Don't even dream of getting into that Baklin demon cave. Those wishes are all just a scam. The Blackwork gang has been really active lately too." A moment later, Tiantiu excitedly points forward. "This is the place." Nak-Ok nods calmly. "My wish is arriving too." He steps toward the scanner. The machine beeps as a light sweeps over Nak-Ok. Tiantiu cheers. "Big brother, the door opened." But inside the observation room, a man's deep voice rings out mockingly. "Another fish on the hook. Close the door and reel them in. Remember, don't go too hard. If they die, how are they going to work?" Immediately after, the door behind them slams shut. Tiantiu turns around startled. A burly, vicious-looking man rushes toward them, his fist flying straight at them. Tiantiu screams in panic, "Big brother, watch out!" Nak-Ok, still tipsy, turns his head just as the punch, crackling with yellow electricity, slams into his face. The damage knocks 5 HP off Nak-Ok, but his passive skill triggers, immediately healing him back to full. Nak-Ok doesn't even realize he just got hit. He laughs cheerfully. "Hello, is this the Baklin Demon Cave? This guy is a rank D demon and he's fully equipped. He took my hit and can still pretend to be this calm." In front of Nak-Ok now are many others. The young man innocently continues to ask, "We're here to exchange our wishes. Did we come to the wrong place?" Hearing this, the whole crowd bursts into laughter, with a sneering voice. "Ha ha ha ha. At this point, what are you still hoping for? It's your bottomless greed that got you tricked into coming here. Do you really believe there's such a good deal in this world? Something like a wish spring? That's all fairy tales for kids." Nak-Ok's face scrunches up in annoyance, which only makes the crowd happier. "We are the biggest black market organization in Van Kingdom. We lure fools like you in here. If you obey, you get to stay in the cave. If you don't, I will chop off your limbs and sell your organs in the basement levels. Even if you disappear, no one will care." Though he looks skinny, executing some military drills shouldn't be a problem. Be a good dog and accept the reality. While the guy is still rambling, Nak-Ok is getting super pissed. He slaps him with one strike, sending the guy straight to his grave. The minions stand there looking dumbfounded. What was that just now? Was it an illusion? Or are we still not over the booze? Nak-Ok is so angry that the veins on his forehead bulge as he bellows, "How many times now? Ever since I woke up, my illusions keep getting shattered like this." The remaining thug yells, "He dares to fight back! Everyone jump him together!" Immediately, the group wearing rank B tech armor lunges in like 5 Power Rangers transforming. They proudly show off their rank B armor. "Let's show him what we've got." The guy in green armor charges his energy, planning a big move, while 3 of them pounce on Nak-Ok at once. Because he drank 2 kilograms of white liquor, his emotions are high, and he feels like every attempt is so close to success. "I'm sick of working for you people. I'm really frustrated, it's so annoying." Activating his drunk mode and rage skill, he swings a punch into thin air and a shockwave explodes outward. He sent the entire group of armored fighters flying like dry firewood, and that wasn't all. Their B-rank armor shattered and fell off, exposing them. It's unclear what happened next, but the survivors were on their knees weeping and begging for mercy. "Spare us, we're sorry. Please let us go," the bald guy sobbed, continuing. "We were forced into this. The force behind this organization is too powerful. We couldn't escape at all." Hearing that this might be a lucrative opportunity, Nakok immediately sobered up. The powerful figure behind this group, whom he was currently pinning under his foot, trembled as he spoke. "We have the backing of the High Commander. He holds the highest position in the Yun Kingdom. Plus, once the general arrives, you're definitely dead." Nakok frowned and scratched his chin, thinking for a long time about who was behind these scams. "It's definitely one of those three bastards. I just don't know which one is shameless enough to scam me." Just as he was thinking, the tightly closed iron door suddenly began to open slowly, and a sinister laugh echoed out. "Ha ha ha ha! The general is here, just wait and die." Nakok turned his head, his eyes scanning with cold intensity, and he muttered, "Oh, so you're the one causing trouble here." When he saw the newcomer's face clearly, Nakok immediately pointed and shouted, "So this scam organization is led by that old guy Kuang Dao Tao?" The demon guy asked in surprise, "How do you know our boss? You dare to insult him like that?" The fat guy, who had just been thinking, "Damn it, the underlings must have let something slip," realized the newcomer was actually Dao Fan, an A-rank warrior. He was the younger brother of Kuang Dao Tao. The whole group panicked and explained, "I'm sorry, it's not us, Right. What we said, General, please overlook it." But before the words could leave his mouth, the guy's head exploded. Tin Tu screamed in panic, "Mommy, that's so brutal." Dao Fan coldly snorted, "A bunch of losers useless to keep around. They couldn't even beat one nobody." The blonde guy was silent, thinking to himself, "Why can't I remember who he is?" Dao Fan walked closer step by step, saying, "Now you know too much, you can only die here." Nakok's face darkened, his eyes cold as ice. This fat guy looked like he had some real power. He smiled faintly. "Then let me see you try to kill me. I'll give you 10 minutes. If you can't wipe me out in 10 minutes, don't blame me for not holding back." After speaking, Nakok flashed a manic smile that made everyone who heard it shiver and recoil. Dao Fan scratched his head with a confused look. "What do you mean, give me 10 minutes? In 1 second, you're going to be moving house." A scream rang out from the blonde guy. "Oh my God, a super move from the general!" Immediately, Dao Fan charged forward and unleashed a powerful punch, slamming it directly into Nakok. It took away 500 health and pushed him far back. But right after that, the passive skill activated, healing him for 800 health immediately. Nakok's body returned to full health. Nakok cheerfully laughed. "Not bad, you're a bit stronger than the others. Come on, try your ultimate move next." Dao Fan grimaced, thinking, "I didn't expect this nobody to have some actual skill." Nakok urged, "Hurry up. 10 minutes goes by fast." Dao Fan cracked his knuckles angrily. "You dare to look down on me!" Dao Fan angrily lunged forward, unleashing a critical hit skill with 5 consecutive punches, sending Nakok flying, but he didn't stop there. He immediately unleashed a super combo of 8 consecutive blows, striking Nakok hard. The blonde guy standing outside was watching, dripping with cold sweat. I remember who he is now. Dao Fan was panting, his whole body burning, hot sweat dripping down. Meanwhile, Nakok was back at full health and raised his head in annoyance, saying, "Hey, don't stop." Dao Fan gritted his teeth. He channeled his energy to unleash his strongest move, explosive energy output. A massive amount of energy gathered in his fist. At that very moment, Nakok's damage negation passive skill activated. Every 15 attacks, he would reflect 1 massive hit. A loud explosion echoed. Dao Fan screamed as blood sprayed from his mouth. He had just been countered for 2,800 health in an instant. In agony, he stumbled back away from him, his eyes filled with terror. "What on earth is this kid?" The blonde guy on the sidelines was pale as a sheet and screamed, "I know now he is. He is that pervert from the palace who once humiliated the Dark General. Isn't he supposed to have entered the immortal ancestor demon cave? How is he still alive and appearing here?" Looking at Nakok's cold face, he trembled, thinking, "So this is that background I heard about. That pretty boy kept by Lady Lu Ha. Don't think you can fool me. Just a low-level demon relying on a woman's status. As for me, I am an A-rank great demon, the future of the demon race." Dao Fan reached out and performed an extremely flashy transformation pose. In a blink, his entire body was covered by the A-rank Cloud Ice Battle Armor. Nak-Ok lay sprawled on the ground, not only unafraid, but cheering with excitement. "Hoo-hoo! This is awesome, buddy. Come over here and hit me again." A gleam of murderous intent flashed in Dao Fan's eyes. His fist gathered blue energy, the level-up cloud shockwave, aimed directly at Nak-Ok. A punch exploded, causing Nak-Ok's health to drop rapidly. Boom, boom! Nak-Ok couldn't stand steadily anymore, but he pulled himself up. 10 minutes are up. But why am I still at full health? As for Dao Fan, his battle armor began to disintegrate. A system notification appeared. Passive skill counter damage activated. Every 15 attacks, a critical counterstrike is launched based on attack power. A series of notifications popped up at the same time. Damage dealt successfully. Deducting 10,000 health from Dao Fan. Additional counter damage of 8,400 health, death-defying protection activated. The blonde guy screamed, "General Dao Fan, don't give up." "What's the meaning of this, Waivao? I don't understand." Amidst the dust and debris, Nak-Ok stood up with effort. 10 minutes are up, but why am I still full of health? Nak-Ok clenched his fist, showing his anger. "Is that really all you've got? That's all the power I gave you. I'm sorry, but you've truly disappointed me. Big brother, please don't do this to me. I beg you, take as much money as you want, whatever you need. I'll give it to you." Nak-Ok raised his fist, looking furious. "I want you to give me death." Dupan sobbed, tears and snot streaming down his face. "Big brother, please stop joking. I don't deserve this. Who exactly are you?" Just then, Du Tao pushed the door open. The blonde man panicked. "Quick, save the general. He's your own brother." Du Tao spoke firmly. "This is his own doing. Whether he lives or dies is up to General Cam. It's not my place to interfere. General Cam, this is a military factory meant for... The previous demon lord only intended to use this for manufacturing weapons. Poor management led to this misunderstanding. I hope General Cam understands. I will immediately tighten control." Nak-Ok looked, totally bored and fed up. "Do whatever you want with me. I have zero interest in his life." He let out a long sigh and smirked. What a bunch of useless trash. And they call this the strongest weapon. The higher the expectations, the greater the disappointment. "Oh, that's right. You just said you'd give me whatever I want, right? Didn't you just say you have 2 hearts? Dupan lay there gasping for air, his mind spinning. What is happening? Why is it like this? I don't get it. Nak-Ok just gave a savage grin. The scene shifted to a hospital where blood-curdling screams echoed. Save me, help me. Dupan lay on the operating table, his limbs shackled tightly. His heart had already been marked. He kept screaming, I was wrong. Let me go, I was wrong. The person dressed as a doctor ignored him and prepared the anesthesia. Don't worry, you have 2 hearts. You won't die just from losing one. The terrifying scream echoed through the entire hallway. No, I don't want this. In a corner of the hallway, Tiantieu hugged Nak-Ok's leg tightly, tears streaming down her face. Big brother, if it weren't for you, my mother would have lost all hope. Thank you, big brother. Nak-Ok replied softly with a gentle gaze. It was just a small favor. After all, this place can still grant wishes. He whispered to himself, I just don't know when my own wish will ever be granted. Nak-Ok looked up at the distant sky and murmured, Tin Na, are you doing all right now? Elsewhere, my Dao Tao was whispering to his subordinates. He asked in a stern voice, You didn't find the energy storage device. A soldier immediately replied, General Rest assured the demon source is still being kept very carefully. It is the most powerful energy weapon. My Dao Tao nodded, his eyes cold. Van Kwok, we must swear to protect it with our lives. It must absolutely not be discovered by anyone else. He gritted his teeth and growled, The human army is coming. At the same time, in another location, the human army had fully assembled on the battlefield. The commander gave the order to rest and recover, preparing for war. In a room, the figure of a Young girl appeared, speaking in a soft tone. That is Tin Na Tiufong. This battle was supposed to be led by you, but now you're only here in spirit. I miss you. Are you doing well over there? But it won't be long before we meet again. In another development, 3 masked men charged straight at Nakok, their swords aimed at his neck. But the moment they touched him, their weapons snapped in two. Nakok roared, holding his head with both hands. Did you not eat breakfast? Aim for my head? Nakok was so bored, he sighed. Trash, trash. You're all just trash. Can no one here actually kill me? Suddenly, the young man woke up with a start. It was just a dream. He sat up, his mind foggy. Just then, a maid walked in, bowing respectfully. General Cam, Your Highness, an emergency military conference has been summoned. Please head to the negotiation hall in 10 minutes. Nakok ruffled his hair and muttered, Another military conference, huh? Outside the grand hall, 2 high-level demons stood guard in grim silence. Inside the meeting room, Liu Bangdi sat at the center, her expression stern as she spoke. According to scout reports, some changes have occurred within the leadership of the human army. It seems they are ready to attack us sooner than expected. The humans have sent over 10,000 legionnaire soldiers. Therefore, we have invited all the important generals of Van Kwak here to discuss countermeasures. General Hoke frowned, recalling that the last large-scale battle was 10 years ago. Back then, it took all the strength of the nation just to barely hold them off. In the end, it was only by using guerrilla tactics to capture their leader that we managed to protect Van Kwak. But that time, the humans only sent 5,000 soldiers. Now their manpower has doubled. General Hoke said slowly, Our demon military strength has not increased at all. We can only defend, wear them down, and wait for reinforcements. Voquan, take your unit and go to the Alliance to request aid. Huak Voquan folded his hands and replied loudly, Understood. Lo Bangdi looked toward Nak-Ok and asked seriously, General Cam, do you have any brilliant ideas? Nak-Ok stroked his chin, his mind rapidly calculating complex geometric figures. He thought, if 1,000 warriors charge and slash at me every minute on average, each one deals damage exceeding my health regeneration rate. He nodded, concluding to himself, in other words, as long as enough people surround and hack at me, I can die. Nak-Ok's eyes lit up. He lamented emotionally. What a truly wonderful opportunity. Immediately after, he slammed the table and shouted, We must fight! We absolutely must! Not only that, but he yelled even louder, We have to go out of the city and meet them in battle. The father-son duo of the Hoke family and the entire hall fell into a stunned silence. General Hoke was so angry, he jumped up, slammed the table, and roared, This is a life-or-death moment for Van Kwak. How can you talk such nonsense? Nak-Ok also stood up abruptly, his gaze cold, his voice booming. 10 years ago, the humans brought 5,000 men, and you struggled barely clinging to life. Today, the humans bring 10,000, and all you know how to do is sit here and beg for help. He pointed his finger directly at them, questioning, Next year, if the enemy doubles their numbers again, who else do you plan to hand your destiny to? The entire hall fell into a heavy silence. Liu Bangdi choked out, General Cam. Nak-Ok growled, his gaze seemingly piercing through them. Our demon military strength hasn't increased even a little bit. Have you all forgotten? He pointed at himself, smiling with full confidence. Have you forgotten who I am? I am your greatest military strength. The light around Nak-Ok seemed to explode. Liu Bangdi was stunned, looking at him with a dreamy gaze, her heart racing so fast it was like she was about to swoon right there. The whole hall began to buzz with whispers. That's right, for the first time in Demon Clan history, a monarch recognized by the ancestors has appeared. How could we forget the ancient prophecy that echoes in their minds? The demon monarch will unite all the clans and lead them toward the light. General Hoke slammed the table and stood up, shouting at the top of his lungs, You want to lead 10,000 demon soldiers to their deaths. Since when have you ever stepped foot on a battlefield? How could you know just how cruel war truly is? Nak-Ok gave a cold, faint smile, staring straight at him. You think victory just falls into your lap. You think if you ambush someone once they'll give you a second chance. Do you? He growled each word, hitting like a hammer. You think sitting here whining and crying will win you the war? You've been a soldier for decades. And you still don't know the most important thing on the battlefield. Nakok roared, his voice echoing through the entire hall. It's the spirit of certain victory. The light around him was blinding, like a god descending to earth. Nakok slammed his hand on the table and declared, I am issuing a military order right now. If we lose this battle, I will lose my head. The whole hall went deathly silent. The uncle on Nakok's side was moved to tears. Big brother is really risking it all. Hokvo Kwan smiled faintly. This guy is always so fired up. Like this. Lu Bangdi stood up and solemnly announced, I understand. For this battle, General Fong Cam is appointed commander-in-chief. The entire army shall follow his orders. She raised her hand to signal. We will open the city gates and face the enemy. Inside the camp, the demon soldiers felt anxious and uneasy. The human army this time wasn't just huge. Each one of them was many times stronger than before. An old general stood in the middle of the camp, gripping his fists. I have fought for many years. I won't let you throw your lives away. His eyes turned red as he yelled, Second General, take the order. Everyone raised their hands in unison. We are willing to live and die with the general. Hokam shouted. This time when we go to the battlefield, we don't need to leave the city, and we don't need to listen to General Cam's orders. If the prince blames anyone, I will take all the responsibility myself. A few days later, the human army arrived at the border of Van Quoc City. This was the 21st Legion of the Holy Nation. Luke Nan raised his binoculars. Van Do, your time is up. He turned and gave the order decisively. Begin the siege. The general has commanded, leave not a single demon head behind. In the sky, a series of bright missiles lit up the entire area. The demons spotted them and shouted in unison, Missiles incoming. They desperately tried to use their magic to intercept the missiles mid-air, but some broke through the line and crashed into the walls, shattering the gate. General Hoke covered his mouth, whispering, Remember what we agreed. The soldiers panicked. What do we do? We should listen to General Hoke, but wouldn't that be violating military orders? Nakok turned around and shouted, Soldiers, hear my order. Everyone stay in the city. Not a single one of you is to step outside. Everyone stood there, dumbfounded mouths agape. What? What is happening? Nakok smiled brightly. Leave this fight to this monarch alone. With that, he leaped from the top of the gate, heading straight toward the human army through the thick smoke and dust. Nakok stepped out. Thousands of human eyes locked onto him. Guns were gripped tight. The atmosphere was suffocating to the extreme. The human leader frowned. This demon? What's going on? It's just some young punk. Luke Nan looked up at the gate, seeing the demons standing still like statues. He grew suspicious. Are they pulling some kind of trick up there? On the other side, General Hoke and the soldiers were buzzing with talk. What is this? Did I hear that right? He just said he's taking on the whole army alone. General Hoke gritted his teeth, his heart feeling like it was about to jump out of his chest. He's crazy. He's truly lost his mind. What is he thinking? Not letting a single demon soldier fight while facing a massive human army. Meanwhile, Nakok was smiling as brightly as a flower. He offered a provocative smile. I heard the human army was very strong. As he spoke, he casually took off his shirt, revealing a solid physique. Why aren't you attacking scared his equipment? Defense immediately dropped by 30%. Nakok chuckled inwardly. Luke Nan, you used to be my subordinate. I didn't expect you to lead the humans to siege me today. Don't disappoint me. He thought to himself. With just a little provocation, this guy definitely won't be able to hold back. Nakok casually turned his rear toward the human army and slapped his own butt with a loud thwack. Hey brat, come over here. Tickle me if you can. Luke Nan stared completely frozen. A second later, his face darkened with rage. He dares to moon us. Luke Nan drew his sword and signaled, shouting, Catch him. Nakok felt thrilled. That's right, get excited. Come at me and pile the wounds onto me immediately after. Bullets rained down on Nakok like a storm. Luknan flashed forward with his sword, slicing across Nakok's neck, dealing 150 points of damage. A group of armored soldiers rushed in, wildly hacking at Nakok, but in less than 3 seconds, Nakok's health bar had fully recovered. Even though his stamina hadn't increased, his leveled-up rank had significantly boosted his defense. These petty scratches were nowhere near enough. It would take over 1,666 damage per second to actually threaten him. Nakok shouted impatiently across the battlefield. "Have you guys not eaten yet? Use your full strength." The human soldiers turned pale and started whispering. Luknan turned back, his expression grim. Is his recovery ability really that terrifying? He gritted his teeth and gave a decisive order. "Second squad attack together." As soon as the command was given, the soldiers immediately moved into serious formation. An armored tank pointed its barrel straight at Nakok and fired. A loud boom echoed, the shell hitting him dead on, but Nakok's reaction was completely opposite. He shouted joyfully, "That's it, keep it coming." Luknan's eyes widened. Such an incredible recovery ability. Could it be that he was serious from the very beginning? A chill ran down his spine as he realized that from the moment he declared he would fight to the death, he had prepared to face the entire human army all by himself. Through the dust, Nakok laughed like a madman, yelling, "That's right! Your attacks are finally starting to look like something." Hokam watched from afar, feeling uneasy in his heart. How does he plan to handle this? Or does he have another strategy? Nakok's face began to contort, smiling like someone high on drugs. He muttered, "That's right. My health is finally dropping. Keep it coming." Suddenly, the system triggered a passive counterattack skill. Every 15 hits, it unleashes a critical counterstrike based on attack power. Pop! Something shot out from Nakok's body, knocking a human soldier down instantly. Blood splattered everywhere. The human troops panicked. What just happened?" A soldier screamed in terror. "This guy isn't a normal demon. His reflection damage is insane." Seeing this, his comrades shouted in alarm. Abin is dead." Luknan's expression shifted rapidly. Panic set in as he thought, "This is bad. This demon, he's trouble." He shouted, "Everyone stop attacking." Luknan stared intently at Nakok, immense pressure weighing on his heart. Memories of the lieutenant general's words flooded his mind. In the Van Kingdom, there was once an SSS-rank demon king with grade 5 regeneration abilities. He destroyed several human nations all by himself. Luknan gritted his teeth. Didn't that king die years ago? Who on earth is this guy? Just then, Nakok's blood tree form fully recovered. He stood with hands on his hips and roared, "Why did you stop? Can't an army of 10,000 even take me down?" The human soldiers murmured, "Look at that. His wounds are already healed." Another soldier exclaimed, "This guy is not normal." Luknan tightened his grip on his sword, his voice cold. "This demon doesn't seem simple." He turned and ordered, "Everyone stay calm. Stop the attack." Luknan narrowed his eyes with a sinister smile. Our mission was only to lure out the demon main force. Objective complete. Minimize casualties. Retreat immediately. The human army began to pull back, leaving Nakok standing bewildered on the city wall. My knee looked down and shouted, "They're trying to run Royal Guard warriors charge. Don't let a single human escape." My knee leaped onto her mount, leading the warriors as they charged out. Hoak Vo Quan was also fired up, raising his sword as he yelled, "All forces mobilize." The troops shouted in unison, "Yes, sir." Nakok sensed a massive commotion behind him. He turned around and nearly fainted when he saw Manhwa and the demon army riding flying beasts toward them. Luknan's eyes widened, his jaw dropping in shock. What is going on? Why are they all attacking together now? He clutched his head and groaned. "I just blew my ultimate skill and it's still on cooldown." Manhwa led the army as they jumped down, shouting, "Those who trespass on our land, no matter how far, shall die." Hokam watched this surge of morale and sighed internally. Nakok, I really am getting old." He squeezed his eyes shut and thought, young people nowadays are truly brave and resourceful, worthy of the throne. Then Hokam grabbed his cape and shouted, "Troops, listen to my orders." He shifted into the fierce demeanor of an A+ rank demon. He flicked his cape aside and commanded, "Everyone follow General Cam's orders." His hidden potential ignited. His entire body blazed with flames, his eyes glowing as he raised his hand decisively. "Today we must ensure these flies have no way home." The troops under his command felt their morale soar. They crossed their arms over their chests and shouted in unison. "By your command," he stepped forward, and the troops around him quickly moved out to the battlefield. While everyone else was joining the fight, a soldier rushed up behind Hokam. His hands shaking, he clenched his fist and reported, "Bad news, sir." This startled the general, who immediately turned around. Ainhan raised his hands, anxiously reporting the situation. "The human army is playing a trick, sir. This city, it's just a diversionary tactic luring the tiger away from the mountain. Elsewhere, a powerful detachment of the human army is entering the Van Kingdom through the West Gate." His voice trembled as he continued, "The lieutenant general at the West Gate has been wiped out. Right now, civilians are being slaughtered within the Van Kingdom. Smoke and flames are everywhere. The human army has completely seized control of the situation." Young Tiantiu at this moment was lying under the boot of a soldier. They were torturing the demon race, laughing savagely. The main human army had fought their way to the capital, pointing their blades directly at the demon lord. Upon hearing these words from his subordinate, Hokam was red with rage. He gritted his teeth, speechless. The scene shifted to another location. Inside the Van Kingdom, the head of the judge had been severed. His eyes were still wide open. A member of the human detachment, with a sharp blade on his shoulder and the judge's head in his hand, walked toward Bang Di, laughing mockingly, "Useless demons." As for the demon race, the demon lord was wounded, and the commander of the guards Wei Min stood there clutching a long spear, looking at Bang Di, whose clothes were in tatters. Covered in wounds and panting heavily, she said in a weak voice, "This human, his strength is too overwhelming." Hearing this, Wei Min spoke up, "Demon lord, we must find a way to retreat from here." The blonde leader sat down on the remains of a demon, his voice firm as he announced, "Your national defense power has been completely dismantled." He spoke in a cold tone, declaring, "It's time to start the game." This man was the new Keitu, the one holding command over the 21st Legion. Behind him stood his 3 trusted subordinates. Each one radiated a deadly, terrifying aura. As the 4 humans stood there, a fireball suddenly flew in from behind and slammed down, creating a massive explosion behind them, followed by billowing smoke and fire. Keitu was startled. He turned back to look, gave a grunt. His eyes filled with confusion, but still tinged with contempt. One of the 3 subordinates lay motionless on the ground, covered in injuries. The remaining 2 grabbed their supplies and said anxiously, "Quick, give him the medicine. Is there a demon squad returning for reinforcements?" It turned out the person who had attacked was General Hokam. He looked over with his glowing red eyes. Hokam slowly descended, blocking the path in front of the demon lord, and spoke, "You all are truly despicable." This caused Keitu, who was still sitting there, to be slightly surprised. Seeing him, he laughed loudly. "Finally, someone who looks like a challenge." Keitu stood up, his tone brimming with confidence, and let out a long sigh. "Time to get up and get moving." Right then, a dense purple aura erupted from his body, his eyes glowing a deadly, menacing crimson as he surveyed his surroundings. Assessing him silently, the man noticed the purple light radiating from him, a power far greater than any other human's, unfathomable in its depth. Suddenly, he unleashed a surge of energy. Crimson lightning crackled around him as he drew the blood-red heavenly thunder down from the sky, absorbing it into his body until a V-shaped mark glowed bright on his chest. Thinking only of a quick victory, Hokam's body underwent an immediate transformation upon absorbing the celestial power. His eyes blazed brighter than ever. He had entered his true form. Demon Dragon Core rank A+. Power increased by 130% speed, by 150% stamina, by 500%. Duration 10 minutes. Compared to that colossal physique, Keitu looked incredibly small, standing there staring up. The scene shifts to the south gate of the Van Kingdom a few minutes earlier, where 2 swords were clashing. The battle had begun. The whole city was plunged into chaos. Humans and demons were fighting fiercely, though it seemed the humans had the upper hand. Corpses lay piled high on the ground. Nakok's figure gradually emerged, his voice ringing out in a deep, somber tone. Very well. Nakok looked back at the city gate, seething with anger. Blood-stained, he cursed. Keep playing with me, then. Go ahead. Keep playing with me like this. Behind him lay heaps of bodies. He dragged himself along, muttering, Ever since I reincarnated into this ridiculous body, it's like I've been using cheats. I'm just so bored with life. No matter how much I try to die, it just never works. Suddenly, Nakok broke into a strange smile. He hugged his own face, tears slowly streaming down his cheeks as he looked up at the sky and screamed in agony, What exactly do you want from me? His expression turned one of helpless resignation as he asked, Is making me the Demon King still not enough? Suddenly, a bolt of blood-red lightning struck from the sky. It blazed like an arrow tearing through the night as it crashed down below. Nakok looked on in surprise as the lightning struck a nearby building. A blinding flash erupted. His expression froze as if he had just seen something truly unbelievable. The city was filled with the corpses of both humans and demons. The scene was so utterly tragic that he could only gasp, Ah! Aren't the humans supposed to be fighting the demons outside the city? Nakok's face darkened, confused. When did they attack the city? Suddenly, he turned his head when he heard a voice. Please spare my daughter. I'll give you anything you want. A human soldier was stomping on the head of a demon man. The soldier sneered, No, spare your daughter, not a chance. You're still going to give me everything you've got. The little demon girl, being held by another soldier, screamed in agony, Daddy! The soldier carrying her laughed lewdly. I'm going inside to have some fun first. The demon father desperately reached out his hand and shouted, Let her go! Immediately, a sword pierced straight through his palm, spraying blood everywhere. The soldier sneered, To the victor, go the spoils. Before he could finish, he took a direct punch to the face. Nakok could no longer ignore the situation. He had struck and sent the soldier flying. After that, Nakok slowly stepped forward, his face contorted. His mind felt hazy, and he questioned himself. This isn't right. The other soldier saw Nakok and scoffed. Another demon coming to his death. He abandoned the tied-up demon girl. They grabbed their swords and lunged at Nakok, screaming, Kill him. Nakok, lost in his own thoughts, was unaware that someone was trying to sneak attack him. Even if the war is cruel, even if it's the law of the jungle. Nakok's eyes brightened, internal doubt rising. But the human army has strict orders against this. With a gentle wave of his hand, he sent both soldiers flying. They fell into a near-death state, bleeding out. When one hit the ground, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Nakok grabbed the soldier by the throat. The soldier looked at him in disbelief, whispering to himself, The enemy. A single normal strike was enough to defeat our life force. In the soldier's eyes, Nakok now radiated overwhelming pressure as he looked down at him. The soldier could not help but tremble in fear. This naked demon. What on earth is he? Nakok's expression darkened as he demanded, Tell me, what squad are you? Which legion? The soldier quickly blurted out, We are from Squad 511, 11th Legion. Another soldier thought in terror, Oh God, why is a demon asking for our unit code? When Nakok heard the number, he was startled. 21, 511. His hand slowly loosened around the soldier's throat, his mind in a state of utter confusion. Isn't that the army I lead? What is going on? Nakok questioned inwardly. How can this be? The two soldiers saw him standing there, frozen, so they scrambled up and whispered to each other, Quick, quick, let's get out of here. This demon is really weird. Suddenly, his expression changed completely. A certain premonition stirred within him. This isn't right. He felt like something was deeply wrong. Suddenly, a painful scream echoed, causing him to turn his head. The father was stabbing a blade into the necks of those soldiers, which reminded him of something. Looking back at this place, Nakok looked up at the ruined, burning city, feeling dazed. It feels like I've been here before. The corpses of the demon race lie scattered everywhere, while human aircraft drop missiles to destroy the skyscrapers, leaving Nakok stunned as he realizes what is happening. Van Kwak. That's right, this is Van Kwak. Just then, a childish yet sorrowful voice catches his attention. Mom, they tortured you to death. He sees a female demon's corpse, her clothes, torn and disheveled, lying on the cold ground, revealing wounds all over her body. A father holds his daughter crying while comforting her. "It's okay, sweetheart, you still have Dad." A lightning bolt strikes down from above. Nak-ok stands there dazed, looking up as it begins to rain. He notices something high above a dragon appears in his line of sight, and he immediately recognizes it. That's the magic dragon Hok-am. Nak-ok rubs his head deep in thought. Van Kwok, I remember now. Images from 6 years ago of him holding his sword, looking incredibly heroic as a human, flash through his mind. Nak-ok once led his troops to a demon nation, also called Van Kwok. He had fearlessly confronted the magic dragon. Their battle had been so intense that the heavens shook and the earth cracked. Back then, the one Nak-ok finally defeated was this very same magic dragon. But in truth, he had held the upper hand. Because the victory had been too easy, he had nearly forgotten everything. And so at that moment, a system prompt appeared and announced, "Congratulations, host. Because you led the 511th Army to numerous victories, your contributions to humanity are immense." Nak-ok clutches his head in pain. So I really have been reborn into the past 6 years ago. It's 6 years ago, but why isn't this battle being led by me? He is stunned, not knowing what the current situation is. What is going on? Where is my body now? The scene shifts. Feng Lu is lying on Tin Na's lap, and she gently calls his name, Tu Feng. Her voice filled with sadness. She pours her heart out to Feng Liu, saying that the hatred between their races is growing even deeper. "You are the only one who is different from the others." She strokes his light blonde hair and says his fight was for protection, while they only seek to vent to plunder and to be violent. Tin Na thinks of the buildings engulfed in flames and the tragic scenes in the demon realm, sobbing as she cries out, "War is truly terrifying." And right now, Nak-ok is walking through that very terror, his face darkening as he recalls his past memories. The 511th Troop had a firm conviction and strict military discipline. He walks toward another area where human soldiers are trampling a young demon boy. Nak-ok's heart feels heavy. He remembers that back then, after winning against the magic dragon, we released all the demons. The boy, even while pinned under their feet, defiantly grabs a knife and tries to resist, his voice trembling. "Let me go, Mom." The mother looks at her child, struggling to protect her, and urges him, "Tien Tu, don't worry about me." She screams while a soldier grabs her hair. "Run away quickly." But the soldier gives her no chance to say more. He uses his lightning power, causing her intense pain. The mother immediately faints, falling. He grabbed her and started groping. Information on the soldier popped up. Deputy commander of the 511 squad named Bao Lich, a blue-rank assassin previously imprisoned by Safong Lu for violating military regulations. Bao Lich gave a sleazy grin, saying, "The demon's wife is still so attractive." The image of him violating an innocent citizen of the demon realm instantly hit Nak-ok's eyes, making him seething with rage. Something had clearly gone wrong. Nak-ok was completely filled with murderous intent. He couldn't believe his own army had become so degenerate. The unforgivable changes. The scene shifted to many people standing in front of a door. An announcement echoed, "She's given birth. My lady has given birth to a chubby little boy." Huo-an excitedly rushed inside. "Quick, where is my child?" Everyone was surprised, having never seen General Huo-an so emotional. He scooped up the baby. With sparkling, joyful eyes, he cooed, "My sweet little Wu Jun." At that moment, as he held his cute baby, he said happily, "You must grow up safe and sound." Huo-an hugged his infant son and promised, "I will protect you for the rest of my life." Then his voice echoed again, "Protect the Van Kingdom." Just then, a golden bolt of lightning struck down, hitting Huo-an dead center. He gazed at the ruined kingdom and roared, "I am here. I won't let you bastards destroy the Van Kingdom." This golden-haired human Katu heard those empty words and showed, after a look of pure contempt, raising a hand to pick his ear. Katu said dismissively, "Just an average A+ rank demon dragon, your health bar is still completely full." He changed his stance and decided, enough time has been wasted. And then, Putting all his force into his legs, he cracked the ground. Ketu lunged at Huoan with a cold expression. In that moment, he and Huoan clashed. His eyes were bloodshot as he looked down. Everywhere was tangled with lightning streaks. He roared in agony as wounds appeared all over his body. Fresh blood sprayed out. Huoan was defeated by Ketu's slashes collapsing to the ground, while the other man didn't have a single scratch. He had been severely wounded and reverted to his half-demon form. Covered in blood, he knelt there, gasping for air. He gritted his teeth, clutched his wounds, and thought helplessly, "This guy, it was too easy. He was just toying with me earlier." Huoan realized with a heavy heart that no one could possibly defeat him. Ketu walked up behind him and coldly commanded, "Cut him down." He looked down at him coldly, like he was just a toy, and said, "You still haven't satisfied me." Ketu swung his sword, a blinding light erupting from the blade along with the declaration, "Die." Huoan hung his head, powerlessly accepting his reality. But just as the sword was about to fall, something sharp blocked it. Ketu raised an eyebrow, looking at the situation with a confused gaze. Hokam panicked, turned around, and asked what was going on. Upon seeing that the one blocking the sword was Voquan, he screamed in a panic, "Why are you here? Have you lost your mind, Day?" At that moment, he spoke with a cold, expressionless face. To kill him, of course. Though he was helped up by Veimin, and injured Hokam still struggled to scold him. "No, you can't. You're truly a fool. You are no match for him at all. You've been this reckless ever since you were a child." Suddenly Voquan roared, leaving him stunned. "You reckless idiot." "No, you can't," he angrily shouted at Hoaxum. "Is that how you've always seen me?" "Father, have I really been that useless in your eyes since I was a kid?" The scene shifted. An image of a teacher appeared in the light, asking, "Who do you admire the most?" Little Voquan happily placed a hand over his heart and declared, "Of course it's my father, the great general leading troops into battle. How cool is that?" Back then he was joyful and innocent, running with a piece of paper in his hand, insisting, "Number 1. The scene shifted again. When Wu Jun excitedly bragged to Huoan, "Father, look, I took first place in the military writing competition." His father just coldly looked at his son. After seeing he had no reaction, Wu Jun felt disappointed. He sadly left the room. When he grew into a teenager, Wu Jun bragged to him again. "Father, I got first place in the military exam again." Huoan just faintly replied, "I was the same when I was young." Wu Jun was left speechless, his eyes filled with disappointment. When he grew up and announced, "Father, I've become a lieutenant general," Dao Tao, standing nearby, chimed in happily. "Young Master Wu Jun is the youngest lieutenant general in history." His father just focused on his paperwork and indifferently replied, "I know." Back to reality. Those memories kept building up, making him angry, and he shouted, "No matter what, you still won't acknowledge me, will you?" Jishao slammed his sword into the ground and remarked, "How refreshing." Huoan anxiously gave an order. "You must leave here at once. This opponent is not an ordinary person." Wu Jun didn't listen. He had entered combat mode, determined not to care who the guy was, be it demon god or Buddha. If he dared to attack the borders of the Van Kingdom, Wu Jun would charge at Jishao, determined to kill him. Huoan reached out anxiously, trying to hold Wu Jun back. "You crazy kid! You have no idea how terrifying humans really are." At this moment, he only had one goal: to kill the person who had hurt his father. Wu Jun's eyes glinted with cold, killing intent, and a series of sword auras appeared in the dim space. The guards around Jishao didn't even have time to draw their weapons before their heads were lopped off, rolling on the ground. As Wu Jun brushed past them, streaks of blood appeared on the blade in his hand. Jishao saw his sword get snapped in two and was surprised. Wei Ming was also horrified by his strength and blurted out, "One strike to take out those two helpers." Both Jishao and Wu Jun stayed silent, calculating. He gritted his teeth, got back into a fighting stance, and muttered, "This demon doesn't seem like the others." Wu Jun spread his flaming red wings and hovered in the sky. Jishao immediately sensed danger approaching. Wu Jun gathered power in his hands. Streams of blue light enveloped his body. The Demon King's skill at this moment, an image of dragon eyes appeared, and surrounding demonic energy gathered around Wu Jun. His whole body radiated a blinding blue light. Huoan looked at his son in astonishment. He stared blankly and muttered, "Since when?" Those behind them had to raise their hands to cover their faces because of the immense pressure released. Wu Jun was about to finish the Demon King's dragon breath. A dragon's head appeared in midair. Ji Xiao stood below, calmly waiting. Huoan was still dazed, watching his own son. "He surpassed me a long time ago." The scene shifts. A vision of Wu Jun as a young child with a sad face appeared. Huoan was sitting at his desk, silently watching him leave. Now he was smiling with pride. "Not bad at all, my son. Not a single drop of my superior genes is missing." Yet in Wu Jun's previous memories, he was cold and unfathomable. The image of Wu Jun opening the door with a gloomy face and calling "Father" appeared. He immediately changed his attitude. "Are you putting on a serious act again? What's wrong?" Wu Jun gloomily placed his exam paper on the table, no longer having his earlier excitement. "My exam paper." At this moment, Huoan's whole body was trembling, his heart full of worry. "I named you Wu Jun, precisely because I wanted you to live a normal life. Why on earth do you have such an interest in military affairs?" At that moment, a subordinate approached to report. "General Huoyang, Master Wu Jun has taken first place in the military competition." After hearing this, he happily said, "Look, I knew it all along. This kid was bound to do it." But then Huoan's expression darkened. He said sadly, "But everything is drifting further and further away." The soldier also fell silent, thinking, "The general's emotions change and become unpredictable every time Wu Jun is mentioned." In the military, he could only watch his general, who was usually a powerful man, feeling distressed over his own son. The scene shifts again. Now Huoan is sitting by his wife's tomb. He sorrowfully confided in her, "Why does Wu Jun also like this most dangerous path of being a soldier?" Then Huoan laughed. "But he really is a genius. He comes in first every time. Not bad at all, my son." His expression then dimmed, his voice heavy. "You once said, 'You just focus on fighting battles outside, leave everything at home to me.'" How lonely his back looked. He poured out his heart. "But why did you leave?" "So early I really don't know how to treat Wu Jun." He recalled the image of Wu Jun growing up, a smile always on his lips. "He should walk a path of peace, health, and a lifetime of happiness. It seems I was wrong." Back to reality. Huoan watched Wu Jun powerfully confronting Ji Xiao. He gathered his strength and shouted the name of the technique, Dragon's Earth Breath. On the other side, Ji Xiao gritted his teeth and used his sword to block. From the dragon's head, a beam of blue light with terrifying power shot out, obliterating everything in its path. Ji Xiao was quickly engulfed by the light. The entire area was affected by Wu Jun's power, turning it brilliant. After finishing the move, he flapped his wings and flew high to observe. Wu Jun looked down at the ruins below with a cold expression. When the thick dust cleared the figure, Ishte of Jie Xiao appeared with a large blade in his hand. Golden lightning radiated intensely. The corner of his mouth curled up and he let out a laugh of excitement. Jie Xiao laughed out loud and happily said, "Now that's Devaka Hao, more like it. Finally, there's a demon that's a challenge." He grabbed his blade and said gleefully, "I can use you to show what I've got." Huoan yelled anxiously, wanting to rush forward to stop it. Ji Xiao didn't care and swung his blade in a straight line toward Wu Jun. His expression also became worried. In his mind, he always had the thought that it could slice anything in half. The fortress wall behind him was also marred by the blade's strike. At that moment, the slash, Huai, had sliced the building behind Wu Jun into two pieces. Smoke and dust filled the air. Wu Jun's whole body was powerless and could not move. Bing Di and Wei Ming shouted in worry, "Young Master Wu Jun!" Bing Di was terrified by that last strike. Conversely, Wei Ming seemed calmer and urged, "Hurry and check." From within the mist, Wu Jun didn't seem to be hurt too badly, but there was a slash on his shoulder. At this moment, Hokam stood before him, his voice echoing, "Vo Quan, your father was wrong. I've always forgotten to tell you something." Seeing him injured, Vo Quan cried out in worry. "Father," he smiled proudly, "you are the greatest pride of my life, my son." Vo Quan sobbed in pain. "No." "But father..." Suddenly an arm fell to the ground with a thud, blood spraying everywhere. Voquan screamed in agony, "Father's arm!" Meanwhile, the man stepped forward, head bowed, while Hokam just laughed. "My son, you are truly the most exceptional warrior. In the future, you will surely become the greatest demon general in this world." He instructed him, "Because of that, you must survive." Hokam looked at K2, then sized up the human standing before him. The weapon in his hand came from the deepest abyss of sin. It must have surely executed those ranked Demon King SSS and above. He created a protective barrier for him standing in front of him to explain. "Right now, even if the entire Van Kingdom combined, we wouldn't be a match for him." The man looked at him with a crazed expression. "But for decades I have been holding on to my final trump card, to protect the future of the Van Kingdom, and to protect you, the absolute defense." Voquan said sadly, hesitating, "But this final move requires sacrificing your own life. That is the ultimate skill, the Wall of Scorched Life. It burns one's life force to construct an incredibly sturdy wall of fire, capable of blocking almost all physical attacks and defenses, plus 10,000 to all attributes for anything behind this wall." His expression grew weary, and cracks appeared on the barrier. Hokam recalled the image of a young Voquan held in his arms, saying, "You will definitely grow up safe and healthy." When he was young, he had happily said to him, "I will use my entire life to protect the Van Kingdom." At this moment, Bang Di and Wei Min rushed toward Voquan, shouting, "You two go quickly." Wei Min grabbed him and urged, "Don't waste the general's sacrifice." Bang Di worriedly cried, "General Hok," while he was filled with sorrow. Trying to reach out towards him, he shouted, "I'm not leaving." Couture heard this and laughed loudly. "Want to leave? Are you joking?" He looked at them with contempt. "Your performances have never been enough to satisfy me yet." Couture raised his blade, preparing to strike down while laughing evilly. "I haven't even seen your desperate expressions yet." Suddenly, a voice rang out from behind. "General, don't be in such a rush to strike." He looked back in suspicion as the voice continued, "We can't let them die so easily." Dao Tao approached holding a cube. "The thing that those fools have always risked their lives to protect is this demon core." With a sly expression, he said, "I've brought it here for you. Can you let me join the human army?" The dark sky began to pour rain thunder, rumbling. K2's murderous voice rang out, "You say this is a demon core, so it must be a demon core." He held his sword against Dao Tao's throat and coldly expressed his doubt. "Why should I believe you?" Dao Tao remained confident, smiling at K2, and explained, "The Kuang clan. We have been the protectors of the demon core for generations in the Van Kingdom." He recounted, "Starting from when the first Demon King Lu Van unified the entire demon continent, our ancestor Kuang Long was already the founding marshal, the most trusted person by his side." In Hokam's shocked gaze, Dao Tao continued, "By the side of every demon king, there are 3 demon ministers, one skilled in magic and governance, and one skilled in combat and military strategy." He confidently asserted, "Only we of the Kuang clan, without using magic or powerful combat strength, can sit firmly in the position of a demon general." Dao Tao lifted the glowing cube and said happily, "It's all because of this. Because back then, Lu Van left this demon core which stores the blood of our founding marshal, Kuang Long." Strange white light radiated from the circles above. With every edge, Dao Tao demonstrated his value. "Only we of the Kuang clan have the ability to activate the demon core, or bestow it upon others." K2 looked at the cube reacting. To his power, he smiled satisfactorily at Dao Tao. "I have heard of the demon core. It is a massive energy form gathering the life force and spiritual energy of the entire demon race. Each demon core must be forged with a demon king's ancient crystal plus several generations of effort. A top-tier demon core takes at least several decades or even nearly 100 years. But he still didn't fully believe him, placing his weapon against Dao Tao's throat and continuing to interrogate. "Something this powerful, you'd just give it to me easily. Like that?" Couture widened his eyes, threatening, "Do you take me for a fool?" From above, a bolt of lightning struck near them, making his demeanor even more tyrannical. After hearing this, he trembled and the lightning in the sky grew stronger. Dao Tao clutched his head and groaned, "I'm sorry." Then he dropped the demon core to the ground. Dao Tao completely collapsed and said, "I just want to live. I am too weak. I have no powerful magic nor strong physical constitution. Even someone as weak as me just triggering this demon core would kill me." He weakly continued, "In the Kuang clan, I have less and less status in the demon race. I can only survive by swaying with the wind, moving left and right." Bang Di saw Dao Tao defecting to the humans. Even demeaning himself to beg, she cried and shouted, "Uncle Kuang, have you lost your mind? That person just killed a group of demons, killed all my compatriots." Bang Di pointed at the corpse of Dao Fan, angry. "He even personally decapitated your own younger brother." K2 followed the direction of her finger and looked over. Upon seeing a head lying on the ground, he let out an "oh." K2 stepped forward, stomping on Dao Fan's head, and asked, "Is this fat guy your brother?" Then he coldly kicked the head toward him. Just like that, Dao Fan's head rolled in front of Dao Tao. He widened his eyes and cursed, "He deserves it. It's because he deserved it who told him to go," provoking someone stronger than him. Then Dao Tao seemed to go crazy and shouted, "Clearly knowing we are no match for the humans, we shouldn't have started this war. A wise man knows when to submit." He laughed insanely and asked K2, "Isn't that right?" He was genuinely amused by Dao Tao's sellout attitude. K2 reached out, grabbed the demon core, and said, "Entrusting something so important to someone like you to guard. What a brilliant move," he remarked, staring calmly at the demon origin in his hand with a satisfied smirk. "Then I'll gladly take it." Suddenly, Dao Tao's eyes bloodshot. He glared at K2. Dao Tao bit his finger, muttering to himself, "Prepare to protect the demon lord." On the other side, after seeing Dao Tao's signal, Wei Min slammed his hand onto the ground to cast his spell. Absolute defensive flower technique. Vo Quan and Bang Di both looked over in surprise, confused. What is he doing? At this moment, all four were enveloped by Wei Min's barrier. Dao Tao bit his finger until it bled. He wiped his blood toward K2 and commanded, "Activate." K2, who had let his guard down, was caught off guard as Dao Tao's blood splattered onto the demon origin. Instantly, the entire mass turned blood red. A burst of light erupted, causing K2 to scream in shock. "What?" The entire sky was swallowed by that light, leaving visibility severely impaired. Dao Tao, though heavily wounded, smiled with contentment. "Our Kuang clan has been waiting for this moment." Dao Tao was fulfilled, because this is something only I could do. His vision began to blur, and his body was engulfed in flames, burning his very flesh, yet his spirit remained unyielding. Generation after generation, we have received the demon clan's grace. We have nothing to repay it with. A massive explosion, like a nuclear bomb detonating, engulfed the city center. Wherever that light touched it, obliterated everything in its path. Hokkam remained safe, protected by Wei Min's barrier. This blast devastated the city. Those who couldn't escape were wiped out instantly. The explosion claimed countless lives in Van Kwok. Mai Ni looked toward the blast in horror, wondering what had happened inside. They looked up as a thick column of smoke rose into the sky. Suddenly, bolts of lightning began to crash down, accompanied by golden thunder striking straight into the heart of the blast, where K2 stood. Wei Min and Hokkam could only watch as the lightning cleared the surrounding smoke. Dao Tao's charred, heavily wounded figure appeared. He muttered, "This is all I have left." His eyes went dim. He looked utterly broken and pathetic. Dao Tao was distraught, lamenting that he could only unleash 1% of the demon origin's power. Vo Quan stepped forward to support Hokkam as they approached him. Dao Tao's body slowly collapsed to the ground, trembling. "I'm not reconciled." As the dust settled, a towering, vertical spire appeared. It was absorbing the lightning, the Thunder Dragon Tower, a grade S skill and absolute defense, capable of blocking all damage for 30 seconds. A dragon stood behind K2. It spread its wings and let out a heaven-shaking roar. K2 said irritably, "The Origin chose the wrong host." He was confident because he had the dragon as his shield. Revealing your trump card before knowing the enemies, that's the most foolish way to fight. Dao Tao had completely collapsed, unable to hear anything more. Everything around the dragon was destroyed, leaving only Ketu's side untouched. He tried to reach out for the demon origin, but before he could touch it, the origin was suddenly lifted by a bolt of lightning. He dropped his hand, watching the origin be taken away. Ketu was enjoying the sight of Dao Tao's despair, then asked, "Are you ready to face the consequences?" Ketu picked up the demon origin, marveling, to think that in this tiny country, I could actually find a demon origin. He continued happily, "Not a bad place to be the birthplace of a demon king." Ketu tucked the origin into his clothes, then looked down at Dao Tao, who was gasping for breath on the ground. "Time for the main event." Ketu turned to the dragon and commanded, "You, do it." The dragon, known as Gita, growled in disgust, refusing. Ketu raised his hand, gathering lightning in his palm, frowning in annoyance. "Can't bring yourself to kill your own kind." Instantly, a device attached to Gita's body lit up as it was activated. It surged a massive electric shock straight through Gita's body. It roared in agony. Gita tried to use its claws to rip the device off, but failed. Gita's eyes turned red as it glared at Hokam and the others, turning around to unleash its attack. Vayman stood his ground, casting a spell to protect everyone. He shouted, "Protect the demon lord!" But Bangdi insisted, "Just protect yourselves." Ketu was losing patience. Demon Clan just do this one small thing. His figure vanished instantly. Ketu slashed with a blade straight into Vayman's chest, causing him immense pain. Ketu's voice dripped with disdain. "Too slow." Vayman was skewered by Ketu's blade. His eyes began to lose their luster. Ketu muttered, "Let me teach you what war really is." Hokam suddenly rushed over, attempting to attack. But before the blow could land, Ketu snatched his hand. Ketu's form shifted. This was his grade S ability, Judge's Eye. Spirit power plus 50. Analysis. Once combat begins, I can observe the opponent's attributes and components. Hokam's data analysis popped up, displaying statistics. Strategy Warrior Elite Potential Grade A. Warning, Demon Class Elite has 200% bonus. Grade A Demon Class has 500% bonus. Attributes. Ketu sneered. Strength 1,484. Stamina 1,456. Not very high, but this is the data you're so proud of. Then his expression turned manic. "Then I'll destroy your strength." With that, Ketu twisted Hokam's arm. He screamed in agony. His arm now looked like a spiral potato. Before his satisfied gaze, Hokam collapsed in pain. Looking aside, Ketu noticed blue flower petals closing in. Voquan, now enraged, lunged to attack. He unleashed his power, illuminating the entire area. Ketu vanished effortlessly, appearing right behind Voquan. A notification appeared. Analysis. Once combat begins, I can observe the opponent's attributes and components. His eyes analyzed the data again. Strategy. The Assassin Demon King Potential Grade A. Warning, Demon King class has 400% bonus attributes. Ketu grinned, intrigued. "I didn't expect you to have Demon King class potential. What a pity. Assassin-type demon highest stat is probably speed over 2,000. That's decent, I suppose." Voquan, hearing the voice from behind, turned. Vigilant, but he was already right on top of him before he could defend. He mocked, "You're the fastest demon in Vanquak, right?" Ketu lifted his leg with terrifying speed. He unleashed a kick fast as lightning, but with enough power that Voquan couldn't dodge. He took the hit and was sent flying. He tumbled across the ruined ground, blood spewing from his throat uncontrollably. Voquan then lay motionless on the ground, pain radiating through him, his body still crackling with residual lightning. Ketu stepped forward and stomped hard on his leg. "Then I'll destroy your speed!" Voquan screamed in agony. Ketu enjoyed the sound of his cry, looking down coldly. "No, you actually think an ant can shake a giant tree, do you?" He spread his arms wide and laughed like a madman. "Any data you have is far inferior to mine." He just stood there prideful while the other three could only watch helplessly. Suddenly, amidst the thick smoke, shadowy figures appeared. Trying to see clearly, Ketu's voice echoed repeatedly. "And if there are more of me?" The dark silhouettes kept appearing, making him panic. "What is this? At this moment, the four of them were surrounded by many shadows. That is the Thunder Shadow Replica skill and S-rank ability. Under conditions with sufficient lightning, one can replicate their own shadow. Each shadow possesses its own senses and combat prowess, and the main body can shift instantly into any of those shadows. Veymin looked up in despair and screamed. Nokatur reached out and grabbed Bang Di's face, his voice cold. "I'm thinking of the image of a kitten." A small image flashed in his mind, accompanied by his voice. "If you are all this weak, then why do you even exist?" Katir lifted her up by the face. Bang Di's whole body trembled, weak and unable to resist. He said coldly, "Back then I knew. And then, when he was small, he used a string to strangle a poor kitten, a satisfied smile on his face. Under his torture, the cat gradually foamed at the mouth, and died." He smiled, full of perversion. His voice echoed as if he had found a new truth. "The value of your existence is just to please me." At this point, Katyu's info appeared: S-rank skill, Thunder Shadow Replica. Under conditions with sufficient lightning, one can replicate their own shadow. Each shadow possesses its own senses and combat prowess, and the main body can shift instantly into any of those shadows. Katyu used his hand to crush Bang Di's face, then continued, "Just to please me." He dropped her to the ground amidst the circle of shadows and laughed, happily. The light in Bang Di's eyes gradually faded. She said desperately, "There is no hope left." Another shadow kicked her until she collapsed. Hokam stood still, watching the overwhelming number of enemies. "This time we have lost." He stepped forward and said, "We are lucky." Hokam, with suicidal eyes, wanted to end it all. "What if we just risk our lives together?" A shadow looked at him and said contemptuously, "As expected of the guardian demon general. Even like this you can still stand tall. Truly, you have guts." He smiled and lazily kicked Hokam's leg, saying, "Giving up like that, that's no fun." He nodded to a shadow behind him. Hokam sensed something bad and turned around. The shadow grabbed Vokwan's hair, lifted him up, and said, "This is your son, right?" Hokam called out to Vokwan in anxiety. Ketyu smiled and made an offer. "I can spare his life. He doesn't have to die. Along with you." He laughed excitedly and said, "Just kneel before me and I will spare him." Hokam gritted his teeth. You son of a My father absolutely will not." Ketyu pointed at him, expectant. "This is your only chance. You'd better think carefully." Hokam gritted his teeth, looking at Ketyu with hateful eyes. Then, for the sake of his son's life, he knelt down on the ground. Now Hokam's dignity was gone. He only hoped to save his child. "I beg you, keep your word." Vokwan, seeing this, cried out in pain. Father Ketyu was satisfied, then looked at him. "And you? Do you want to save your father? You also have a chance like that." Hearing this, Vokwan screamed in fury. "Screw you," veins popped on his face. Seeing this expression, Ketyu became even more intrigued. He used his sword to stab Hokam. Then he counted 10. Vokwan screamed in agony. "Father." His whole body was wounded, collapsing backward. He could only cry out in helplessness. Ketyu continued to count, and at the same time, swung his sword to sever Hokam's arm, counting 9. Hokam's arm was sliced off. The count continued, 8. Vokwan's expression had turned to pure despair. Staring blankly, tears streamed down uncontrollably. He prepared to attack while counting 7. Vokwan by now had discarded his pride and knelt down. He was helpless, his whole body shaking as he begged, "Stop, don't do it anymore." Bang Di looked up. Her 2 strongest generals had accepted defeat. 2 lines of tears streamed down in despair. Ketyu mocked gleefully. "Oh my, now both of you are kneeling. This puts me in a difficult spot. Who should I let go?" After all, Hokam's eyes were full of hatred. His heart beat stronger than ever. Hokam threw his own body into the blade in his hand. Vokwan by now couldn't hold it back. Tears and snot streamed down as he wailed, "Father, he used his own body to stab into the sword. Please spare Vokwan." Ketyu annoyedly wiped the blood off his face and said, "Who told you to charge at me yourself?" He coldly pulled the sword out of Hokam. "You broke the rules." Ketyu looked at him falling and said with disgust, I've decided to take back my promise." He stood there and said, "Now I announce." Voquan, unable to take it anymore, rushed forward with a fist ready to be thrown. K2 immediately used his blade to stab straight through him. His voice turned sinister. "The next game begins." Bang Di helplessly watched him, painfully hugging the sword, stuck in his body. She whispered, "Voquan." Vemin and she had both run out of tears, watching in pain and despair. At this moment, on the ground, individual chains were pulled up by a hand. He used them to chain all 4 of them and hung them up there. It was just like the image of little K2 using strings to strangle and abuse kittens to death. He used his blade to stab Voquan, causing him pain. Blood from his mouth dripped down. K2 pulled the blade out and said with amusement, "I'll avoid the vital spots to see how many strikes you can take." The real K2 was now looking toward Gita and ordered, "You come here." It had no choice but to obey and bow before him. He was satisfied, stepped on Gita's head, and arranged to prepare for the final celebration. K2 sat on its head and then contacted his team, calling the vice captain. "Bowlich, you must be bored of playing by now, right?" He smiled sinisterly and said, "Notify the whole army move out." Suddenly, from inside the communicator, a voice of cursing echoed. Or you think you're tough now, right? Daring to rebel." K2 frowned and asked, "Who is this? Where is—" "Oh, Bowlich." From inside the device, a mysterious voice spoke up. "Bowlich is here." But that voice was hauntingly familiar, making K2 turn his head back. Looking back, Nak-Ok had already arrived, declaring, "I've more or less figured out the whole story." Seeing him using the S-Rank King's murderous aura combo, he darkened his expression and crushed the communication device in his hand. In a low, cold voice, he interrogated, "I didn't expect you to do something so monstrous just to seize power." Nak-Ok looked at the corpses strewn about. Then his face went grim as he muttered to himself in self-reproach, "This is all my fault." Meanwhile, the Leon group and K2 sat on the back of the beast, all noticing his sudden appearance. He stared at Nak-Ok, a giant question mark forming in his mind, his face twisting in confusion. Nak-Ok looked at K2 and cursed, "I should have thought of this sooner. Scum will always be scum." His face grew increasingly angry, veins popping on his forehead. "The crimes you've committed, any one of them would be enough to warrant slow slicing." K2, unbothered, grabbed his blade beams of light emitting from his body. "Just another small fry," he scoffed. K2 vanished from the beast's back and lunged toward him, intent on killing him in an instant. He closed the distance to Nak-Ok, his blade raised high, ready to strike down. K2 wore a satisfied smile, thinking he was about to slice him in 2. But the unexpected happened. Nak-Ok used a single punch to shatter his face. A notification popped up, "Power level unknown." K2 was slammed hard into the ground, causing the surrounding area to crack and crumble. He looked at Nak-Ok in terror, wondering, "Who the hell is this guy?" Nak-Ok looked down at him and growled, "Where should I start?" He looked at him with disgust, reading off his crimes: treason, usurpation, abuse of women, cruelty, murder of comrades. Which crime should we start the execution with? By now, K2's glasses had shattered. He gritted his teeth and snapped back, "What are you talking about?" K2 was lying in a pool of blood, and Bowlich was staring at him from a distance. Bowlich's eyes half closed, stammered in disbelief, "This devil, he's really strange." Since they first met, he seemed to have cared a lot about human affairs. Not long ago, in the war zone within the Van Kingdom, the sky was now filled with dangerous lightning. Down below, Bowlich was aggressively dragging Tiantu's mother away. He shouted a reminder, "Bang Koi, don't kill that brat." He puckered his catfish-like lips endlessly, praising, "The demon's wife is so elegant and beautiful." When the kid was struggling and calling for his mother, Bowlich rudely warned Bang Koi, "Remember this absolutely. Do not kill him. I want him to watch how I play with his mother." As he spoke, he flicked his long tongue out, licking her face. Suddenly, Bang Koi was shattered into 100 pieces by someone. Bowlich immediately braced himself. It was none other than our protagonist. With one strike, he blew away the Bang Koi that was holding Tiantu. The appearance of Nak-Ok made Bowlich lose his cool. "Why is there still a low-level devil getting in the way?" Fine then, taste this. As soon as he finished speaking, he fired off streams of ice. In a flash, those streams coalesced into a giant A-rank bangkoi. Bowlich looked at his creation with a smug smile. This time, the bangkoi was made using half of my blood. It has half my strength. It's enough to make you... Before he could finish his sentence, Nak-ok had already lunged toward the bangkoi, using his basic skill, Van Chi Lam. He punched straight through its chest with his bare hand, instantly shattering the sturdy bangkoi. Nak-ok leaped in front of Bowlich, leaving him bewildered. He gasped, "What?" Bowlich's jaw dropped in shock, his face drained of all color. Immediately, a godlike slap landed squarely on Bowlich's front teeth. One hit and they were all gone. He was struck by Nak-ok and sent flying away miserably. Meanwhile, he successfully leveled up, defeated an A+ rank human warrior, received 500,000 experience points. The system announced, level cap reached. Successfully leveled up to A12. Received 12 stat points. Total of 132 unallocated data points. Reward package A12 King. Furo of the Demon Lord. Received new skill. Equip unlocked new S-rank skill, Replication. You can use this skill to replace the abilities of any opponent you defeat. Immune to elemental damage. Bowlich, drained of his strength, looked as if his soul had left his body lying motionless. Nak-ok looked at him with bored, disgusted eyes and said, "Now it's time to find out the truth." He grabbed the guy by the head and began his interrogation. "What on earth happened to my army?" He immediately recounted the whole story. The original captain of the 511th Army was Sa-Fong Lu. The vice captain was named Manhwa. About half a month ago, the vice captain held an engagement party. We made our move that day. Captain Sa-Fong Lu didn't attend the party, which gave us a perfect opportunity. While everyone was dead drunk, I and Ketieu snuck into the vice captain's living quarters, forcing him to frame the captain, claiming he was bought off by a neighboring country with intentions to revolt against the guild. At that time, Ketieu said, "I've already planted those items in Fong Lu's room. If you testify with me, he'll definitely be taken in for investigation. You'll be the captain, I'll be the vice captain, and the glory for the Van Kingdom this time will belong to us." Van Hoa was furious, instantly lashing out, "You guys are crazy. This is a coup." "How could you say something so ridiculous?" Bowlich lamented. "But that guy was too stubborn. He wouldn't sell out Fong Lu no matter what. So he went to his newlywed wife and began to undress with a disgusted look on his face. Don't think we brought you here to negotiate." Ketieu pinned Van Hoa down and threatened, "Think carefully, today is your engagement night." Van Hoa's veins were bulging as he saw Bowlich doing vile things to his wife. "Let her go. I have to kill you two." As he spoke, his eyes radiated dangerous black light. But before he could do anything, his entire strength vanished and blood gushed from his throat. Ketieu contemptuously explained, "You drank so much spiked wine and didn't even notice. Don't be a fool." At this moment, he slammed his dagger down in front of Van Hoa, pulled his head up, and asked loudly, "I'll ask you one more time. Are you going to help us take Fong Lu down or not?" Van Hoa was driven mad with rage. He gritted his teeth and cursed, "Go to hell!" Van Hoa swore to die rather than submit, even as Bowlich humiliated his wife. Until he was tortured to death, he never uttered a single bad word about Sa-Fong Lu. We left the sailor that Sa-Fong Lu usually uses at the scene. When everyone gathered, Tan Ketieu acted all serious, accusing that the moment I arrived, Van Hoa had only one breath left. The fact that Sa-Fong Lu's treason was discovered by Van Hoa must mean that Guy was backed into a corner. Ketieu dumped all the blame on the captain after that. He led the Legion to strike at Fong Lu's headquarters, planning to act first and report later. As soon as he arrived, he ordered his lackeys to attack, but he didn't expect that Fong Lu had already left the encampment long ago and escaped a close call. That guy Ketieu stood there slandering him, saying he must have fled out of guilt, even leaving behind the weapons and gear he always carried with him in the camp. After that, Ketieu used the excuse that Sa-Fong Lu's treason had been exposed, claiming that in the chaos he had seized his comrade's wife and murdered her while fleeing, requesting a top-tier death warrant. That made him truly the army's greatest criminal. That guy Ketieu took the opportunity to snatch the weapon Fong Lu left behind. He smiled smugly to himself, thinking, This good stuff belongs to me now. Logically, before the battle, the army temporarily replaced the leader and Tankeitu sat in the position of supreme commander, under his father's nomination. Speaking of this, Bao Lich, while hanging upside down, wondered and asked me, "But I'm also very curious why you find interest in human affairs." I ignored him and fiercely continued asking, "What about the others? Don't tell me no one suspected what happened." That guy just snorted and replied, "You mean those brain-dead fans?" Of course they resisted. Those people were sacrificed before the battle. He pouted and added, "Seriously, I don't understand. It's already this era, and there are still people so foolishly loyal, not understanding the situation. In the military is the truth of right and wrong, really the most important things." Baulich frowned, negotiating. "Everything I should say I've said already. You should take me down now, right? Just take me down, and I can convince Captain Tan to spare your life." As soon as Baulich finished, Nakok used the knife in his hand to slice off his something. The agonizing pain made him scream endlessly.
"You madman, what are you doing? No."
"My precious, damn it, hurry and reattach it for me." Right at this moment, from behind, a female demon came over and called General Cam. She approached, tears streaming down her face, and said, "This is the battle gear that General Wei Min gave you. He always kept it for you. This time he predicted that the Van Kingdom would face great danger, so he told me to wait in the cellar for you. Please put on this gear and leave the Van Kingdom, get as far away as possible." He said, "Perhaps you are the last hope of the demons, therefore. You absolutely cannot die in battle on this battlefield." She continued, tears still falling. "I just received a magical transmission from General Wei. Perhaps they have met with misfortune." Nakok immediately took the set and put it on. His whole body was covered in extremely cool gear. This is the S-rank Zigzag King combo, including the mask, Demon Flame to increase elemental power, Celestial Demon Scale armor to boost stamina and block critical damage, Celestial Demon Weapon to increase health and lifesteal, and Celestial Demon Transformation, which helps change the shape of any clothing on the body. Nakok walked over, grabbed Baulich by the hair and dragged him away, while activating the Celestial Demon Transformation skill to change the clothes into fitted casual wear. The female demon saw him going in the wrong direction and immediately reminded him, "General Cam, the city gate is over there. Please leave this place quickly." But he calmly said, "I will not be a deserter." After that, he ordered the defeated guy to take me to see Tankeitu. Baulich's face was swollen like a bee sting, but he still talked big. "You're a madman. Do you think you can fight Captain Tan at—" that time, Baulich widened his eyes, asserting, "He will grind you into paste, you stupid demon." Returning to the present, Baulich watched as I kept pummeling Keitu, wondering to himself, why is he so concerned about human affairs? After that, this guy frowned, wondering, who exactly is he? Tankeitu at this moment teleported quite a distance behind Nakok. He stood still for a moment and used his appraisal skill to see through the target's attributes. Quickly, the glasses that were broken earlier were fully restored. Keitu reached up to adjust them and stared intently as the skill immediately displayed statistics. Combat data and parameters regarding Nakok appeared. Demon Potential A+ Rank Elite. He was extremely surprised after seeing it. His eyes widened, and after that he wore a look of contempt and said, "Aside from having slightly higher strength, the other stats are trash. Just an ordinary elite rank demon, that's all. Speed 1477, only half of mine." Having said that, he commanded his clones to rush toward Nakok. They launched forward like arrows. In his heart, Keitu thought, based on his data just now, that he was only able to react completely by pure luck. A clone raised its fist toward Nakok, who couldn't help but sneer, "Luck won't be on your side forever." He immediately threw a punch like a heaven-sent blow at all of Keitu's clones surrounding him. They were blown away with just one hit. A clone said in confusion, "That's not right. His data clearly shouldn't be faster than mine. Who the hell is this demon, Sao?" Nakok, standing in a counterattack stance, put on a serious face and said, "Now it's my turn." Under the heavy rain, Tankeitu was frowning at Nakok. Standing next to him was a giant dragon. He thought to himself, his strength data couldn't possibly beat me. At the same time, Keitu frowned, Pondering his copy technique, as all attributes were almost identical to his own, he checked the combat data statistics once again. The result still shows my potential as an A+ rank elite, but everything else is displayed except for fortune, which can't be checked. It's incredibly annoying. Is there some kind of error? He immediately checks his combat power statistics. As a human warrior recruit, every stat is clearly displayed and superior. Just then, K2 raises his weapon and begins to calculate. Even though my strength is 4,102 with this weapon, I get a boost bringing me to 5,424 strength points. He mutters, calculating the numbers in his head. My speed is 1,477, but I actually have 3,732. K2's eyes reveal confidence. No matter what, there's no way he can be faster than me. Let's test that. At this, K2's face shows clear horror. Then a K2 clone covered in blinding lightning takes a battle stance. It then lunges at Nak-Ok like a bolt of lightning, aiming its sword straight at his neck, thinking, with a sneak attack like this, he's done for. I've got you, I say, throwing a powerful punch straight into that clone. Then pinning it down, I keep punching without stopping. The real K2, seeing this, goes mad with rage. He grits his teeth and asks inwardly, "This is too abnormal. What exactly is he hiding about his attributes?" Just then, Nak-Ok draws his arm back. Frowning, he scolds, "You're still relying on those useless numbers. What makes you think you can see through everything? I now possess hidden attributes because I received the Demon King title. All my attributes have tripled, and they can't be detected." Suddenly, lightning flashes in the sky, and the rain starts coming down even harder. No original text for this split. K2's clones rush in all at once. He's unwilling to accept this. His face twisted in frustration as he thinks, "I don't believe it. All of them." Before he can even finish the thought, the clone that just lunged is punched in the face by Nak-Ok. He follows up with a masterful strike that makes its head vanish in the blink of an eye. I've taken care of those annoying clones. He then glares at the real K2. A clone holding a weapon stands up, gritting its teeth and shouting, "Your speed can't possibly stay that fast forever." As soon as the words leave its mouth, the clone's jaw drops in shock to see Nak-Ok's face right behind it. Without hesitation, he lands a heavy blow that sends it flying into the sky. No original text for this split. K2 hides behind two clones, fuming as he strategizes. "It seems I can't face him head on," he tells himself. "Regardless of your secrets, you're still just a subordinate of the Demon Lord." Suddenly, a clone teleports next to Bang Di, grabs the rope, tightens it around her, and threatens, "Your boss is in my hands now." It immediately yanks the rope hard, causing the Demon Lord to scream in pain. Vokwon, watching from behind, is boiling with rage and scorns. "When you can't beat someone, all you know how to do is use these pathetic tricks." No original text for this split. The clone holds the Demon Lord tightly, looking hideous. Nak-Ok walks up and says bitterly, "The same old script, huh?" K2's clone screams, "Take one more step and they all die." As he finishes, another clone yanks the chain wrapped around Vokwon's neck, making him cry out in pain. They act as if they have successfully grasped the opponent's weakness, looking utterly smug. The clones stand still, waiting for Nak-Ok's next move. One of them arrogantly taunts, "Come on then, I thought you were so capable." Finishing his sentence, the clone grabs the chain in his hand and yanks it hard. Vokwon grits his teeth and endures the pain, while the threats continue. "Even if you are fast, there's only one of you." Beside him, the Demon Lord looks disheveled and miserable. K2's voice continues, "If you dare rush in to save one, I'll kill the other immediately." Nak-Ok frowns, listening to his threats. "What will you do? How will you choose after that?" He clenches his fist so hard that a few drops of blood seep out. In the blink of an eye, he charges forward like a storm, his eyes flashing with lethal killing intent. The clone is startled by his recklessness and curses. Damn it, he actually dared to charge. Vokwon sees this and immediately shouts a signal to him, "Go save the Demon Lord." But suddenly Nak-Ok turns toward Vokwon instead. He lunges and jabs 4 fingers into the nose and corners of the clone's mouth. K2 stares in shock. By now, Nak-Ok has already sent that guy flying. The impact proves just how immense the force behind his blow was. One by one, the chains are removed. Vo Quan asks confusedly, "Why did you save me? What about the Demon Lord?" Nakok turns back with a look of pride. He points toward the Demon Lord and replies, "Who said I only saved one person?" Just then, the clone holding the Demon Lord is pierced through the stomach by an A+ rank ice puppet sword. Its other hand catches Bang Di. The ice puppet slowly twists the sword in its hand, then slashes a zigzag pattern, causing the clone to vanish instantly. Nakok turns to look at the ice puppet and orders it to save everyone else. Immediately, the remaining chains are sliced clean off. At this moment, Bowlich is utterly confused by the scene before him. He asks, "An ice puppet? How can that be? Since when did you learn this skill?" Then he thinks in fear, "Isn't this a skill that only I have? He actually learned it from me." Just then, one of K2's clones jumps behind the ice puppet and launches a sneak attack with a sword, but suddenly the puppet raises its hand and grabs the clone's head tight. Then it crushes him into the ground. Nakok is very satisfied. This puppet is as strong as my real power. He can use the ice puppet because he previously unlocked the S-rank skill, Replication. He can use this skill to replace the abilities of any opponent he defeats, and it isn't affected by elemental types. Back then, he was still quite skeptical. Which skill should I replicate? But now he is extremely pleased. Replicating this one was definitely the right choice. Hearing Nakok say that, Bao Li realized something. So that's it, he thought. He's replicating my skill. Blood Ice Puppet is a dark cloud type skill I just happened to acquire. Even though it's incredibly powerful in the Demon Cave, it has two major drawbacks. The dark cloud type skill, Blood Ice Puppet, consumes a certain amount of the user's own blood and requires a sufficient water source to manifest into an ice puppet. He noted that the puppet's appearance mirrored the warriors of his own race. The first drawback is, it absolutely requires the presence of water elements to be activated. The second drawback is that creating an ice puppet requires the host to expend their own blood. How much blood is consumed and what percentage of the host's combat strength does the puppet possess? Bao Li vaguely deduced the answer and realized. He just said it has the same strength as him, which means he has to drain almost all his blood just to create this puppet. He looked at Yahello, who was standing there calmly with his arms crossed watching the puppet fight. Wait, in other words, thinking this, he immediately shouted to Shinkei, "Captain, don't fight the puppet attack, the real body." Shinkei was hiding behind the dragon. Hearing the reminder, he realized, he's using his skill, so he must be at his weakest right now. After hearing that, he turned to look at Yahello, who was hiding behind the puppet, and thought, so that's how it is. It's all just a bluff. Then one of the clones looked smug. Once I land a solid hit, he's a dead man. Yahello's expression darkened. He was plotting something. Shinko's clone immediately raised its weapon, gathering a massive amount of lightning energy, and teleported right in front of Yahello. The weapon elongated, piercing straight through his chest. He then slashed multiple X-shaped patterns across his abdomen. The spot where Yahello stood erupted in a massive explosion. Shinka triumphantly announced, "I won pra." Before he could celebrate for long, Yahello's voice echoed from within the smoke and dust. Shinkei's clone slowly turned back, horrified, and asked, "How is this possible? He should be almost out of HP. I clearly hit him just now." Immediately, the other clones lunged toward him, but in response to that, Yahello just stood there, completely calm. One clone landed a 300 damage critical hit to his chest, another landed a 100 damage critical hit. Each of them was throwing their full power attacks. After 2 hits, Yahello was still standing tall with his arms crossed, glancing at them, and asked with a sarcastic tone, "Is that all you've got?" Shinkei was losing his mind. He gritted his teeth, thinking, that's not right. Then he activated the Eye of Perception skill. When he saw the health bar above Yahello's head, he was even more stunned. How does he still have full health? This demon isn't just about the stats being wrong. Yahello placed his hand over his chest. The tool attached to his wrist suddenly lit up, emitting sparks of electricity. Even Yahello's aura suddenly became eerie. Just as Shinkei was trembling in fear, Yahello activated the Heavenly Demon Transformation skill, recovering 100,000 HP per minute. Yahello drew his sword dripping with killing intent and asked Shinkei, "Have you used up all your tricks yet?" Hearing this, he panicked. If I stay here, he'll tear me apart. He leaped up and vanished from his spot at the speed of a lightning bolt. Shinkei looked up at the sky full of thunder and lightning and thought to himself, "Thank goodness the heavens are on my side." He told himself, "There's plenty of lightning enough for me to create many replicas and hide among them. He can't kill them all by himself." Yueao didn't stand idle. He gripped his sword tightly, letting his blood drip out to activate the blood ice puppet's skill. After collecting his thoughts, he ordered the ice puppet behind him, "Take care of these guys." The ice puppet bowed slowly. The 4 remaining key members, including the demon lord of the evil race who was sitting there watching, bowed their heads to the ground in obedience. Bao Li, watching from behind, stared at Yueao's back and thought, "From the first moment he appeared, I should have realized. He has always cared about humanity's issues." He trembled, realizing something else. He even understands our skills and the captain's skills to a level that far surpasses our own. Meanwhile, on the other side, Yueao's face was dark. He gripped his weapon and stepped forward silently. Bao Li decided in his heart, he is definitely not of the demon race. Yueao frowned and spoke up. "Rainy weather doesn't just mean lightning. There's also an endless supply of water." No sooner had he finished speaking than over a dozen hulking ice puppets rose from the ground. Yueao continued, "Every one of your stats is higher than mine." The clones clearly showed Shinkei's anxiety. Meanwhile, Yao lowered his head slightly and said slowly, "What if I have this many hands?" After saying that, Yueao swept his cloak aside, and behind him, several dozen hulking, ferocious ice puppets were summoned. The giant dragon Shinkei had summoned earlier was still standing there watching. Regardless of both sides, the ice puppets and the clones had taken their positions ready to fight. Shinkei's clone, losing patience, immediately turned to the dragon and shouted, "Why haven't you attacked yet?" Yueao leaped toward the clone, preparing to strike. He raised his hand and used the heavenly demon transformation. Trails of green aura gradually drifted out, and then, it coalesced into a bear claw weapon. The clone was immediately punched by Yueao, a blow he'd remember for the rest of his life. Yueao glared at him and declared, "I'm going to end this battle quickly, Shinkei." Hiding behind the giant dragon, watching the battle intensely, Shinkei gritted his teeth in dissatisfaction, calculating his next move. "Going head-to-head with him now. I don't have a chance of winning." Shinko looked at the sword in his hand, confident he had roughly figured out Yueao's abilities. He then observed Yueao, who was standing there. His recovery ability is extremely high, but he still loses health as normal. He isn't immortal. Shinka smiled, looking at his sword, and told himself, "The lac is a SSS grade weapon that can store energy and has an armor-piercing ability. If I charge it with enough energy, I can definitely kill him in one hit. The lac is bound to me. It can follow my true body. I just need to stall for a little while." Before he could finish thinking, an ice puppet lunged at Shinkei from out of nowhere. It used its ice sword to pierce through his chest, causing fresh blood to spray out. Shinkei was in extreme pain. He mustered his strength to grab that sword. Then he immediately teleported away from his position, moving as fast as lightning. He used his clones to constantly switch places between them, all connected by a single stream of energy. Lightning crackled. 1 month later, K2 landed on his knees behind his clones, smirking to himself, confident that he could switch between his replicas in the blink of an eye. "He can never truly kill me," Bowlich muttered from a distance, looking utterly stunned. He trembled. "So that's how it is. The captain is using lightning to constantly spawn clones, and by rapidly shifting between them, as long as he doesn't reveal his true self, the enemy can never kill him. Plus, those ice puppets have a limited duration. No matter how much blood his opponent has, they can't keep creating puppets forever." Bowlich then smiled confidently. "You're still going to lose to the captain. You will never be able to kill the captain." Nak-Ok, meanwhile, gripped a clone by the throat. He glanced at Bowlich and asked, "Who said I wanted to kill him?" "I said," he declared. "Every sin he has committed deserves a slow, agonizing death." The clone began to struggle, eyes bulging, stammering. You were a cruel person, even as a child." Katyu held a pair of scissors, grinning at a shackled animal. "Don't die so quickly, all right?" The animal gasped for air. its body covered in blood, while the child laughed. "If you die, I won't have any toys left." Returning to reality, Nakok tightened his grip on the clone's neck. He continued maniacally,
Every one of your clones is a part of you.
He squeezed the clone's neck like a snake coiling around its prey and asked, "Any pain your clones feel is transferred to your real body, isn't it?" As soon as Nakok finished, the clones began to feel the pain. Immediately, both the main body and the clones began vomiting blood. K2 was terrified, wondering, how does he know that Nakok grew even more intense, speaking with hatred? Treason, plotting, abusing women, tyranny, cruelty, murdering comrades. None of these are things that can be solved just by you dying. Nakok squeezed so hard, the clone's head was torn from its body. K2's entire body convulsed as he clutched his face, screaming, "It hurts! It hurts!" An ice puppet tore another clone in half. The puppets continued their relentless slaughter, slicing clones to pieces. Nakok added, "You should experience a fraction of the pain you inflicted on those you murdered." Bowlich's face turned pale as death. He stammered in shock, "That's not right. I completely miscalculated. He never intended to kill the captain. He's just torturing him." K2 endured wave after wave of agony, clutching his body and cursing, "Damn it all to hell!" K2 gripped Lak tightly, trying to calm himself. "Keep going. Hang in there. I'll funnel all my energy into this. It's almost fully charged, almost there," he shouted. "This is an SSS grade weapon. One strike is all it takes. Damn it." Finally, Lak had absorbed enough lightning. It was time. K2 felt his strength return. He raised La, crackling with electricity, high into the air, and shouted excitedly, "With this one strike, the entire demon race will vanish." One clear day in a forest, a lightning dragon was fearfully leaping from branch to branch. A month later, there was a rustling sound under a bush, and its head slowly poked out. It was the lightning dragon hiding. Several young men wearing protective gear walked by, scanning the area before asking each other, "Did you see that lightning dragon?" Another replied, "What a shame it got away." Once safe, the lightning dragon immediately leaped up onto a branch, silently watching the group below. But it jumped in fright when it saw a teenage Fong Lu sitting there, chewing on a piece of cake, staring right at it. It bristled and growled at him. Meanwhile, the boy remained completely calm, reaching into his bag of snacks. Then Fong Lu took out a few delicious pieces of cake and asked, "Want some?" The lightning dragon blushed in embarrassment. He sighed, saying, "The humans and demons are starting another war over magic crystals again. So many people have nothing to eat." Young Fong Lu gazed into the distance and sighed. "I wish the war would end soon." Back to reality. Locke in K2's hand emitted a blinding light. He instantly held it high, laughing, "Yes, it's time. With this one strike, the entire demon race will vanish." Nakok remained calm, looking over and extending his hand into a tight grip. He was confronting the massive lightning dragon directly. It seemed as if there was a bond between them. Dust swirled all around. Nakok gently reached his hand forward, then commanded in a cold voice, "Locke, return, K2." Meanwhile, was still gloating with Locke in his hand. However, his smile faded when Locke began to break apart into pieces. It hovered in the air and immediately flew toward Nakok. As it reached his hand, the pieces reassembled perfectly. He grabbed it and declared, "Back to its rightful owner." Veins popped on K2's face in shock. He stammered, "How is that possible?" "I clearly bound it to me." Nakok didn't answer, but looked serious. "Thanks for helping me charge Lak." Having said that, he lowered Lak while K2 and his clones stood frozen in disbelief. Then he slowly raised it to eye-level eyes closed. Nakok swung down hard. Lak's technique, Calamity Sword, was unleashed. Instantly, a vortex formed all around. It swept away K2's clones. The turbulent winds caused them to dissipate rapidly. It didn't stop there. The vortex created by Nakok swelled up like a bomb. It exploded instantly, clearing the dark, gloomy sky back into a beautiful blue. Bowlich immediately recognized his identity and cried out, "I knew it was you." The lightning dragon knelt before Nakok and said with emotion, "You've returned." He stood silently watching it. The two were finally reunited. Behind him, the weapon revealed the image of the human captain Fong Lu. K2's clones began to burn under the sunlight. One by one, they vanished in an instant. Nakok watched them disappear and said, "The clones are all gone." The black clouds and lightning also dissipated. K2 was now sitting helplessly surrounded by powerful ice puppets. As soon as Nakok walked toward him, he immediately turned around with a look of pure terror. Nakok pointed Lak directly at him and firmly declared, "The war must end now." 2 years ago at the Manhwa Kingdom Fong, Lu pointed toward the abyss and asked, "Lei Long, can you see the spot where that devil fell?" Back then, 16-year-old Fong Lu pointed in that direction and commanded, "Go fetch him up here." Seeing Lei Long grumpily shaking its head, he smirked and teased, "What do you mean by that? Are you saying my command sounds like I'm treating you like a dog?" Then Fong Lu shrugged, his expression softening. All right, you're not a dog. Who said you were? You're my best friend. But they say that many years ago dogs were also humanity's best friends." His warm words made Lei Long blush. Back to the present, Lei Long is looking up at the sky and roaring loudly. The device on its neck is emitting energy, causing it pain. Tan K2, standing there, immediately orders Gita, "Stop him!" Hearing that Nakok mocks, "You've got no lightning left now. Your energy is almost completely drained." He heaves Lak onto his shoulder and boldly declares, "You've got nowhere left to run." That guy remains stubborn, holding on to his plan. He raises the remote control and thinks to himself, "No, the speed data for Lei Long is nearly 10,000. You can't keep up." With that thought, he immediately triggers the control. Gita cries out in agony and he yells out threateningly, "Take me away quickly or I'll blow you to pieces right now." Its whole body is swelling with lightning. Gita is in so much pain, it can only scream and shed tears. Nakok, seeing this, can't stand it and calls out, "Gita." He curses in his heart. "To think you installed an explosive device inside Gita." "You animal." Tankeitiu immediately dashes to Gita's head and commands, "Fly up quick." Gita tilts its head up. Bowlich down on the ground sees this and can't accept it, reaching out and shouting, "Take me with you too." Its feet stomp onto the ground, gathering momentum then. It flaps its wings, creating a powerful gust. Gita has already grabbed Tankeitiu in its mouth. It stares straight at Nakok and says, "Next it's your turn." It then zooms toward Men. Meanwhile, he stands below, watching intently. Nakok frowns, observing with clear irritation as he waits. He raises Lak and the wind around him begins to shift violently. Tankeitiu struggles incessantly, shouting in a rage, "Then don't blame me if I blow you to pieces." At that moment, he activates the self-destruct sequence. Self-destruct progress 75%. As Lei Long dives down, the self-destruct progress climbs to 83%, then 90%. Nakok isn't panicking. He calmly waits for the right moment. The self-destruct progress has now hit 97%. Lei Long is very close to him. When the self-destruct progress reaches 99.5%, Gita's body looks like it's about to explode, but our Men leaps up and delivers a precise sword strike. The explosive device inside it is shattered by Nakok. Gita lands on the ground, smoke billowing off it. It immediately chomps down on Tankeitiu. The surviving demons have nothing left to say. They watch in silence. Only Bowlich of the human race is panicking, turning pale. He trembles, saying, "Severed." It's severed again. Once Lei Long Gita settles down, it turns to look at the situation. Tankeitiu is now lying there gasping for air. He coughs up blood as he speaks with great difficulty. Nakok walks toward him, but he keeps begging in a weak voice. Tankeitiu is now lying in a pool of blood, motionless, stammering with difficulty. "Spare me. Why?" He uses his hands to claw at the ground. In a confused tone, he asks, "Why?" Then, unable to accept it, he screams, "You really have to hunt me down to the very end." He has lost both legs now, and blood is flowing ceaselessly. Nakok ponders for a moment, then replies with a look of disgust, "From the very moment you betrayed me, you should have expected this outcome." Tankeitiu is utterly bewildered. He angrily asks back, "Betray? What do you mean, betray? Who?" Now Nakok and Gita stand with an overwhelming aura glaring at Keitiu with eyes as sharp as if they want to mince him into 100 pieces. Men raises Lak and says, "Seeing Manhwa, remember to kneel and apologize to her." Fong Lu's face appears vividly in his mind. Keitiu sees and that face and is struck with absolute horror, screaming, "Is it you? Fong Lu?" At this, Nak-ok slashes his sword across his face, listing his crimes of treason and rebellion. He continues to charge with extreme hatred, striking as he speaks, exploiting women. Now Katyu can only scream in pain as he takes the hits, images of him teasing and torturing. A father and daughter appear cruel and tyrannical. Countless gashes mark his body. Next is the crime of harming his comrades, and the victim was none other than Vice Captain Manhwa. For every crime listed, a sword stroke is delivered until there is no space left on his face or body. Nak-ok is losing control. He raises lack, his face darkening. The next crimes are listed: stealing my equipment, bullying my Gita, ungrateful and heartless, lacking respect for superiors and subordinates. By now, our man has completely lost his cool, slashing wildly without pause. By now, Tankatyu's face has been completely shredded. With razor-sharp, swift, and clean strikes, Nak-ok glares at him with killer eyes and bellows. Execution complete, Katyu has now been hacked into pieces. Every piece broken apart represents a sin he committed. He stands there having finished the processing of the human traitor, while simultaneously reclaiming his pet and weapon. Baulich stands stunned in the smoke and smell of fresh blood. He says in terror, "It really is him. This devil is indeed our captain." The image of Fong Lu flickers behind Gita. Below is the figure of the demon Nak-ok with lock in hand, quietly walking forward with immense pressure. Along with Baulich's confirmation that he was never a deserter, he receives a system notification: successfully killed human boss level. S rank. Completed the quest to protect the demons. History has changed successfully. Received 2.2 million experience points. Increased by 4 levels. Level increased to 16. Entering a state where evolution is possible. Meanwhile, at some laboratory, Tina is looking at a test tube saying, "I guess the matter is almost resolved, isn't it?" Inside is the body of Fong Lu being preserved. She says, "Your weapon, your equipment, your dragon, they have all returned to your side." She places her hand on the test tube, a look of slight sadness in her eyes, and adds, "Now only your woman is left." At a lakeshore below the human mountain range, a person comes to report to the old man fishing. "Frontline army reporting in, sir." He says with a stutter, "The 511th Legion. The 21st suffered a heavy defeat. General Tankatyu has been sacrificed." This man with many scars is Tanthan, the marksman of the Divine Legion, father of Tankatyu, receiving news of his son's death. But he remained incredibly calm. He kept a tight grip on his fishing rod and asked composedly, "Is there a body?" The other man replied immediately, No, we couldn't bring it back, old man." Tanthan's expression didn't change. He immediately ordered the soldier, "Is that so? Then arrange a state funeral and a coffin. Tell the whole world my eldest son Tanthan has died gloriously on the battlefield." Meanwhile, under the water, a fish was nibbling the bait. "Quick, help me pull it up." He was still happily fishing, not noticing a hand gripping tightly, trembling behind his back. The person was Tankatyu's younger brother, Tan Lin, an SS rank mage. He said heartbreakingly, "Brother, the entire Van Kingdom has been wiped out." Having said that, he wore a sinister smile. His eyes flashed with a deadly light. His eyes were 2 different colors. At that very moment, the sky above the Demon Kingdom was also very clear. Inside the Fong Kingdom's palace, a figure dressed in warm black stood before the king. After a moment of silence, he spoke up. "The letter from the Alliance Conference was sent 3 days ago. May I ask if your highness has decided on the candidates yet?" This old man was the king of the Fong Demon Kingdom, Dalmaidan. Hearing this, he sank into deep thought. This Alliance Conference is just like a public assembly to humiliate small countries like our Fong Kingdom. But as a member of the Alliance, I cannot refuse to participate. Then he replied immediately, "We don't have many A+ rank demons in our country. They are all precious talents. This conference is so dangerous that the participants never return in one piece." The man in black suddenly darkened his expression and asked again, "Has your highness decided on the candidates yet?" Old man Maidan fearfully raised his hands and stammered, Give me a few more days, The black-cloaked man suddenly transformed into a monster with sharp claws. He angrily lunged crazily at Maidan's face and said, "Let us decide for you for the Van Kingdom." At this moment, a person from the VM Kingdom arrived, handed over a letter, and said, "This letter is an invitation to the Alliance Conference." She sighed. "I didn't expect the Van Kingdom to be attacked these past few days. He's so heavily. The VM Kingdom has already sent a support team." Bang Di, covered in injuries, hung her head sadly and said, "Thank you to the VM Kingdom for your help." The VM Kingdom messenger bowed respectfully and replied, "I hope your highness gets some rest and—" I quickly provide the list of candidates for this season's Alliance Conference. This is the biggest event for the entire demon race. Outside at this time, workers were hurriedly rebuilding houses. Tiantu's small hands reached out, and 2 red rings of light gradually formed. He immediately used his power to move the pieces of brick and rubble up to the high floor of a house. Finished, the little boy was exhausted, sweat streaming down him incessantly. Just then, a worker walked up to Tiantu and announced, "Take a break, General Kwong is here to visit you." He was pushed in a wheelchair, his whole body bandaged. He looked at Tiantu for a moment and exclaimed with admiration, "I didn't expect that the reconstruction of Vando would require mobilizing young children like this." He bowed his head and happily replied, "It's the right thing to do. Thank you for donating your own heart to be transplanted into my mother." Hearing this, Dao Tao laughed and said, "Actually, that heart had already stopped beating in my body due to the big explosion. It just happened to be a perfect match for your mother. Besides, this was something my good-for-nothing younger brother owed you. Among humans there are good and bad people. Among demons there are good and bad demons. The wicked will face retribution." At that moment, somewhere else, Bowlich was screaming, "I beg you, please spare me. From now on, I will never come to the Demon Kingdom again." As he retreated, he screamed, Don't, please, don't." The demon beasts were slowly advancing toward Bowlich. Suddenly, 4 or 5 beasts lunged to tear him apart amidst his agony. Dao Tao continued, "The kind-hearted will have a good end. This is the creed of my Kwong clan. My brother, while he was alive, went against this creed. There is nothing to regret about his death." Suddenly, Tiantu shouted loudly, "That's not true," making the old man jump and widen his eyes. The boy said bluntly, "Your younger brother was indeed very scary before, but when the humans suddenly attacked the city, he ignored the fact that he had just had surgery and brought me and my mother to escape." Then the boy recalled that scene, when Dao Fan opened his mouth to call out, "You little brat, hurry up!" While leading the 2 of them, he said that his heart could not be wasted. But unfortunately, we encountered that human Tankei Tio. At that moment, Dao Fan had decided, "Kid, take my heart and bring your mother and run. I will hold him off." Then he stood there firmly looking forward, ready to face a powerful human. Tiantu shouted at this moment, his voice full of determination, "He died protecting me and my mother. He is our life-saving benefactor." Every word struck Dao Tao's heart in shock. He never expected his younger brother to have acted so nobly. Dao Tao heard this and fell into deep thought, looking into the distance, speechless. Afterward, he wore a painful smile. He looked down with weary eyes and stammered, Is that so?" Then he cried like a child and said, trembling, blaming himself, "I don't understand you, brother." Happiness mixed with sorrow made him shed tears continuously, imagining the image of his younger brother smiling down at him from above, making him deeply moved. This kid, it turns out, was still the same as when he was little. Sunset had fallen. Right at this moment where Nak-Ok was, he was standing on the city wall, gazing at the scenery when Vemin walked up from behind to announce something. "The Man is the most important energy source protecting the nation for the last 200 years of our Van Kingdom, and you are our strongest demon." He raised the Man energy source in front of him and said respectfully, "Great Demon General, we and the Demon Lord have decided that this can only be entrusted to General Cam." Vemin kept talking, even though Nak-Ok didn't even turn his head to look. "It not only has the power to help you advance to the next level, but can also bring you extremely powerful skills." Even before he could finish speaking about the uses of the Man, He cut him off and flatly refused. Save it. Wouldn't it be better to use that massive amount of energy to rebuild the kingdom for you people? Then, turning back with a smile, I announced that I was leaving the kingdom. My words left him completely stunned, and he asked, "What are you kidding? This place is—" As he spoke, he wore a look of utter shock, causing Nak-Ok to look back with regret, thinking to himself, "If it keeps going like this, no one will be able to kill me anymore." At that very moment, he was extremely anxious and determined to find a way to become a human again as soon as possible, especially with such a huge crisis unfolding for humanity. I wonder how Nana is doing. Is she in any danger? Thinking of the kind people like the demon lord Voquan or Tien Thieu, his resolve only hardened. I am a human. They are demons. We shouldn't be involved, and we certainly shouldn't have feelings for each other. He felt a wave of sadness, silently thinking, besides the fact that I want to become human again after being killed like this, the demon race just wouldn't understand. They couldn't help even if they wanted to. While he was deep in thought, Gita suddenly sent a telepathic message with good news, making him jump. The princess was currently safe. Then, looking at him with gentle eyes, she comforted him. "I will go with you, too." Nak-Ok was completely taken aback, staring at her for a long moment, before breaking into a bright, happy smile, then replied, "It's a relief to have you." Hearing this, Gita turned to look at the vast city ahead and asked, "So, have you figured out where we're going yet?" After asking, Gita stretched forward, preparing to take off. Vamin, seeing this, couldn't help but ask in confusion, "General Cam, where are you planning to go?" Gita's wings flapped a few times. With a sudden burst, she soared into the sky, threw her head back, let out a loud roar, and shot forward. Behind her, in a state of panic, the old man Vamin still didn't want to give up and shouted, "General Cam." Meanwhile, at Hokam's sickbed, Hok Voquan was bandaging the old man's wounds. Once finished, he sat in a corner of the bed, staring blankly. Lost in thought, he shifted his gaze to Hokam's arm and asked, "Father, they said the other arm. When will it be delivered?" Hokam closed his eyes, exhausted and confused. He asked his son, "This is the third time today you've asked me about this. Is something wrong?" As if realizing something, the old man stared at him and asked, "Does it have to do with him?" Voquan didn't answer. He just pulled his cloak tight, stood up abruptly, and told him, "Get some rest, father." He walked away. Leaving the sick room, his mind was racing with theories. From the first time he met him at court to his behavior in the demon cave, he became absolutely certain of one thought. I should have realized it sooner. He is definitely not part of the demon race. He is— The more he thought about it, the more his face twisted in frustration. Right then, he felt an overwhelming rage cursing Nak-Ok in his heart. Damn you, a human always looking for death. Sunset arrived and Nak-Ok and Gita stopped at the edge of a forest bordering a desert, desolate and empty. Just then he received information from the system. Only by being killed can you turn back into a human. Self-destruction does not count. There is no other way. Seeing the system message for the 10th time, he complained lazily to Gita. "See, no matter how many times I ask, it's always the same result." He then rubbed his chin, calculating. "Besides, with my current recovery ability, it's very hard to even kill myself." He suddenly stood up, having thought of a way to die, and immediately told Gita, "If we can find an S-rank demon lord or higher, then maybe they could one-shot me with some special skill." Nak-Ok wondered aloud. He had only ever encountered such powerful demon lords in the demon tower before. After that, he never saw one again. "Quickly think of a way to help me. How can I get killed quickly?" Gita, hearing this bizarre request, looked up at the sky feeling helpless and replied, "I mean, it's true, but no matter how you put it, I am your contracted demon beast. Helping you find a way to die just feels so weird." At that exact moment, the huge rock above Nak-Ok's head slowly cracked and started dropping pebbles. Then a massive boulder detached from a deep fissure and fell down. It moved at incredible speed, heading straight for where he was standing. He just stood there with his arms crossed, calmly waiting for death. But Gita acted on instinct, swiftly slicing the boulder into small pieces to protect him. Nak-Ok stared in disbelief, jaw dropped. Once she was done, she felt guilty. Her eyes darted away as she explained, I react without thinking when there's danger." Nakok looked at the falling rock fragments, sighed, and lectured her. No, you have to control yourself. Stop protecting me. Just throw me into danger. Gita, hearing this, acted as if she understood, and replied immediately, I'll keep that in mind. You want to die. But her eyes were suddenly drawn to something else, rustling in the bushes above. Suddenly a massive bear jumped out, claws, sharp, charging straight at Nakok. But before it could do anything, its face was suddenly pierced by something. Only its eyes remained rolling back in shock as it hovered there. The bear lost its soul immediately, thanks to Gita's lethal strike. She apologized timidly. Nakok could only respond helplessly. It's fine. Slowly the sky turned dark, and the forest was illuminated by the moonlight. A campfire was lit in the gloomy woods, and above it was a piece of delicious bear meat waiting to be grilled. Nakok let out a loud burp next to the carcass of the unfortunate bear and told Gita, I'm full. Then he grabbed his sword and started walking away. He turned back to tell her, You should go recharge too. He used his sword to slash a line through the air. The power of the Dimension Stone opened up. That rainbow slash revealed a large passage. Gita looked inside with curiosity, and the two stepped in one after another. Inside, he detached every part of his sword to check them one by one, then told Gita, Let's wait until dawn. Then we'll head west and try to find a demon tower. Who knows? There might be others. When he was charging the sword, the dragon soul replied, The goal is very unclear, not to mention whether there's a demon tower in the west, even if there is. We don't know if there's an S-rank demon lord inside. Its words left him deeply depressed and hopeless. He asked back, So what should I do? Since there are humans in the west, I can't think of anywhere else to go. Just as he finished reassembling the sword and putting it on, Gita warned him that someone was coming. Immediately after that, a sharp weapon was suddenly pressed against Nakok's shoulder. He looked at it momentarily stunned, while Vokwon irritably and cryptically asked why he was leaving without even saying a word. How rude. Right now the Van Kingdom is holding a banquet to celebrate our victory. Why is our greatest hero leaving already? Nakok glanced at him, frowned with exhaustion, and retorted, Then why aren't you out there drinking instead of chasing me out here? Vokwon's face darkened at that. He gritted his teeth and cut straight to the point. Tell me, who are you really? And what is your purpose in coming to our Van Kingdom? Nakok didn't answer immediately. He just kept his eyes on the weapon at his shoulder. At that moment, Gita telepathically told him that the guy was furious, but there was no killing intent. Seeing he wasn't getting an answer, Vokwon grew enraged and shouted, What kind of relationship do you have with those humans? Why do you understand them so well? He kept screaming and wouldn't stop asking, And another thing, why does the lightning dragon follow you? Why did the weapon fly into your hand, and how are you? Before he could ask anything else, Nakok Falma grabbed the sharp weapon, looked at Vokwon with an ice-cold expression, and calmly replied, Because I am human. That answer only made Vokwon's blood boil even more. His eyes widened, stunned that his suspicions were actually correct. Nakok calmly lowered the weapon and said to Vokwon, It's a shame you can't kill me now. He shoved the guy's hand away and added wistfully, Though dying at your hands wouldn't be so bad. That remark made Vokwon even more certain of his theory. So it really is you. Are you seeking death? Have you always wanted to die? With that, he lunged forward, grabbed Nakok by the throat roughly, and angrily challenged him. Fight me! Come with me into the cave! Bipui! During the Great War between the human and demon races, you jumped down all by yourself. You wanted to be killed, didn't you? Why? Tell me why. Nakok showed no emotion, letting him keep his grip on his throat as he explained. Because only by dying can I return to being human. I was human to begin with, but because of a mistake I ended up in this. A demon body. I have to be killed to go back. But Vokwon only grew more furious and demanded to know. Then why did you kill that human commander? His power was clearly enough to kill you, wasn't it? There was no need for you to save us at all, right? He continued to press his resentment, spiraling out of control. You could have just waited for him to wipe us all out and then let him kill you. Wouldn't that have let you return home? The human army could have won, and you could have returned. You never really stood with the demon race, did you? The intensity in Vokwon's words made him unable to meet his gaze. He looked away, troubled, and said, This isn't about sides. It's about my convictions. Hearing this, Voquan was slightly taken aback, his expression softening. Nakok added hesitantly, I cannot accept evil. Just as he finished speaking, Voquan released his grip on his throat. He said painfully, the humans keep invading our territory. I'm bringing us misery and death. It was the humans who killed my mother. As he spoke, Voquan's face grew darker. He was filled with bitterness. That's why I hate the humans. The humans all deserve to die. He then shouted in Nakok's face, you deserve to die too. But then he squeezed his eyes shut and said regretfully, yet I find myself hoping, that you really are a demon. That made Nakok feel a touch of sympathy. He fell silent for a moment. Gita whispered, I can feel that he is very wounded right now. He wants you to comfort him. But Nakok hurriedly walked past Voquan and said his goodbyes, leaving. This left Gita incredibly disappointed. Aren't you going to say anything? But Nakok was unwavering in his resolve. He told Gita, I shouldn't form any bonds with the demon race. We cannot be friends. Voquan heard the footsteps of Nakok leaving. Without hesitation, he played his final card. The alliance tournament is in 1 week. It was like hitting a sore spot. Nakok's footsteps stopped. Seeing this, Voquan didn't wait to add, it is the most important tournament for the 18 demon kingdoms. As he spoke, he turned back to watch Nakok's reaction. It's a martial arts tournament. Every kingdom sends 2 demons to compete. When that time comes, all the strongest demons will appear. There won't be a shortage of S-rank demons there. Hearing this, Nakok immediately spun around his face, revealing excitement that he was doing a poor job of hiding. Voquan saw this and suggested, if you want to be killed, that would be a good opportunity. Even though you're already undefeated here in the Van Kingdom, don't underestimate all the demon races. Nakok was very interested. As soon as Voquan finished, he excitedly asked, is killing allowed in the tournament? Voquan quickly replied, of course. Because it's for their kingdoms, the participants all hold their lives cheaply. Gita heard this and transmitted to Nakok. It seems he is telling the truth. His gaze is very sincere. But right now I feel a kind of... Before Gita could finish, Voquan placed a hand on his chest and offered, there is no one else in the Van Kingdom willing to go and throw their life away. The Demon Lord can only agree to let the 2 of us go. I can help you plan your death. He added, but a demon king cannot die at the hands of someone else. The resentment still lingered in Voquan. He stated firmly, the final blow must be delivered by me. Nakok heard this, pretended to think, pressed his lips together, and pondered for a few seconds before breaking into a wide grin, grabbing Voquan's hand and replying happily, deal. The Demon Alliance is a federation of empires created by 18 large and small demon nations. It is said that the mysterious power of the entire world comes from 10 mysterious regions, and the demons hold the 2nd region. The Alliance tournament is held with 2 main purposes. On one hand, he summoned the leaders of all the nations to a joint meeting to discuss future development strategies and unite the demon clans. Another aspect was selecting the next leader of the United Nations. The method of election is through a martial arts tournament held every 3 years. It is the fairest plan in a world that values strength above all else. Might makes right. The winner takes all. Only then can one lead the entire demon race. However, it has now become a stage for the great powers to show off their strength. The Demon Lord sighed and continued. What's called the Alliance of 18 Nations is actually plotting for their own interests, having lost any sense of unity or peace in their pursuit of final victory. They will stop at nothing, even unleashing the most brutal demon generals. He then spoke gravely about the danger of it. In the previous round, 36 people entered the tournament. Only 5 survived. This time, the 3 great powers, the Flame Kingdom, the Martial Kingdom, and the Thunder Kingdom, will surely send powerful S-rank fighters. Her eyes widened, gazing into the distance. The fighters her father had sent to battle in the past never returned with him. Bang Di stood up and walked forward a few steps continuously, trying to dissuade Voquan and Nakok from participating. If you regret it, there's still time. I can let you both back out and just say the contestants fell ill. Perhaps she hadn't finished speaking before she was struck dumb-shocked to find that both of them had already vanished. By now, the two of them had already boarded the spirit beast transport. After waiting for a long time, Vokwon announced they had arrived. Nakok rushed to the glass window, looked at the panoramic view below, and shouted excitedly, "Is this really the Flame Kingdom?" Then he thought to himself, "In my past life, I never had the chance to see this place." He always thought this was just a poor, desolate wasteland. At this moment, the dragon carrying the three of them was gradually descending, circling once in the air to prepare for landing. Nakok was still shocked by the beauty of the place. "I never expected it to be this prosperous." A moment later, they all set foot on the capital of the Flame Kingdom, White Emperor City. The lights from the buildings shone brightly in the night sky, and the atmosphere was incredibly lively. Bang Di was pulling her suitcase while being surprised by the prosperity here. "I didn't expect the White Emperor City to have changed so much over these past few years." She then spoke to the other two. "Let's go register first. There's a banquet tonight, and in the meantime..." However, before she could finish giving instructions, they had vanished again. She turned back to see no one there and helplessly cried out, "Hey, you two!" Nakok walked up to a fruit stall. He glanced over everything and excitedly, "La Bach!" shouted, "This place actually has so many fruits I've never seen before." Vokwon, standing behind him, sneered at the ignorance of the human race, then thought with a hint of regret, "In the end, I'll have to be the one to kill you." Thinking this, he ignored him and headed toward a weapon shop across the street, while Nakok was still admiring a round, plump watermelon in front of him. His eyes lit up as he said to the owner, "This kind of green-striped melon I've only seen in books. It's a legendary fruit." The owner saw the look of delight in his eyes and suggested, "Are you from the East? Have you really never seen such high-quality fruit?" Then he sliced the melon in half and gave it to Nakok. "This is called a watermelon. Want a taste? This was grown using magic, you know. It has the effect of instantly recovering stamina." Nakok was extremely excited upon hearing this. Meanwhile, on Vokwon's side, he was also very surprised by the shop he had just entered. "These are all A-rank weapons." He couldn't believe that a random shop on the street would have such goods. He marveled at the pile of weapons before him and sighed, "In our Cloud Kingdom, we even established a secret weapons depot specifically to research and create new ones." The shopkeeper smiled upon hearing this and asked, "Are you from the Cloud Kingdom?" He then smirked triumphantly and spoke with disdain. "Surely it can't compare to our great Flame Kingdom. Whether it's national power, economic resources, or land area, the Flame Kingdom surpasses the Cloud Kingdom in every aspect." He looked Vokwon up and down, then asked curiously, "Are you here to watch the martial arts tournament?" Hearing this, he replied somewhat embarrassedly, "I'm here to participate in the matches." A girl nearby, also picking out weapons, heard him say this and let out an "oh." The girl with blonde hair was named Huang Lam from the Martial Kingdom. She turned to look at Vokwon from head to toe, then judged, "A weak frame, haven't even advanced in level yet. It seems the Cloud Kingdom really doesn't have any talent left." Hearing that insult, he instantly flew into a rage, scowling at Huang Lam. Ignoring Vokwon's annoyance, she triumphantly raised her hand and said to the owner, "Help me. Wrap up all these S-rank items and send them to the Hala Hotel." As she received the gold bars, the shopkeeper showered her with flattery. "Isn't the Cloud Kingdom always like that?" "You can't say for sure. They might be opponents when the time comes." As she stepped out the door, magic covered her entire body, and she arrogantly declared, "My only opponent is one person." Huang Lam was full of determination, then loudly announced, "For the fighters of the Martial Kingdom." Vokwon stared intently at her and silently guessed, "The magic on this person is so strong. Is it S-rank power?" A moment later, all three gathered again and were on their way to the Hala Hotel. Vokwon and Nakok were carrying 2 huge bags behind Bang Di. Nakok was thoroughly enjoying his slice of melon, while Vokwon was grumpy. He asked, "Is everyone in this place this arrogant?" Bang Di explained to him, "This is very normal. After all, the tournament is coming up. Who's going to give their opponent a pleasant look?" Then her face became filled with regret as she said that it was very different from when the alliance of 18 nations was first established. Back then, the power of each nation was similar, limiting and balancing each other. But now only the three nations, the Flame Marshal and Thunder Kingdoms, have any real power, and have had the right to speak up in recent decades. The winners are basically just rotating between three powerful nations. It's a natural law of progress according to the Alliance of Winners competition rules. In the end, what they can receive is the Evolution Stone. It is the fastest way to evolve into an S-class demon. Meanwhile, the leader of the winning nation becomes the commander of the 18th Legion, holding authority over the Allied army. And possessing the final key means being the winning nation. You will receive more S-class warriors, making your national power even stronger. And you can even mobilize the Allied army, or exploit that place. After hearing those two words, that place, he suddenly jumped in surprise. A moment later, after arriving at a shimmering, gold-plated skyscraper, Bang Di said, "This is the place. This is the tallest architecture of the demon race." Just then, an orange-haired boy approached from behind and hesitated, asking, excuse me, is this the Zimala Hotel?" In his hand, the boy was pushing a wheelchair with his younger sister in it. Huang Lam, standing behind them, saw this and made a look of annoyance. She looked at the two of them with utter contempt, then walked over and sneered, "Running into you country bumpkins again, here to buy melons." Hearing this, Voquan was so furious, his blood boiled, and he said to Bang Di, "Demon Venerable, I can't stand this person anymore. Can I kill her?" Seeing this, she quickly calmed him down. "Stay calm. If she is provoking a conflict, then you've fallen right into her trap. Anyone reported for violent behavior before the match will be disqualified from participating." Ignoring the insult about being rustic, Nakok kept a cheerful smile, walked over and spoke to the two kids. "Is this the Zimala Hotel? Are you here to participate in the Alliance Assembly too?" They also smiled and replied, "That's right, we are from the Vu Kingdom." Suddenly, he leaned and closed his face, showing a devious look, and urged, "If we meet in the arena, please attack me so I have no way out. Okay, The boy was momentarily startled, but tried to stay calm and replied, "Yes, I will try my best." At this moment, Bang Di was afraid she couldn't stop Voquan, so she turned to look at Nakok and called out, "Let's go inside and check in." No sooner had she finished than the bag on her shoulder slipped off. Turning back to look, the bag was already flying through mid-air. Bang Di screamed in a panic, "My bag! Our invitations and hotel check-in papers are all inside." Nakok saw the bag being dragged away, but didn't see anyone, so he suddenly asked, "Does the robber have an invisibility power?" While Voquan was raging, shouting, "Which bastard is it?" Suddenly, the orange-haired boy pushed his sister's wheelchair over to Nakok and said, "Could you please watch my sister for a moment?" Once that was done, the boy closed his eyes tight and cast a move. A stream of ice magic slowly flowed from his eyes and flew to both sides. The boy used both hands to separate a bit of the ice magic to each side, then transformed it into a pair of wings. Now a magic circle had appeared under his feet. The floor in his consciousness had turned into seawater. He focused on sensing his surroundings. Each footstep of the thief gradually became clearly visible. After pinpointing the robber's location, the boy opened his eyes wide, then pointed his hand toward the running thief and launched his move. Instantly, an ice attack was fired strongly forward. The thief also felt it and turned back to look. Seeing the attack rushing toward him like the wind, he was extremely terrified. A second later, the thief was hit and his whole body was frozen stiff to the floor. At this moment, he was still bewildered, wondering, how could he find me? But before he could get his answer, the thief was suddenly surprised to see someone's element flower fall in front of him. He looked up and was terrified to see Voquan standing with his arms crossed. His face darkened with annoyance. Immediately, he grabbed the guy by the collar and snapped, "Punishing a crime surely doesn't count as violent behavior, right?" The thief had 2 lines of tears streaming down, stammering, "Please forgive me. Actually, I'm a contestant from the DOA Kingdom. I'll give your things back. Just don't turn me over to the guards, okay?" On this side, Nakok couldn't help but be surprised by the boy's strength and praised him endlessly. "Brother, your skills are not bad at all," the younger sister said proudly. Of course. Once done, everyone returned to their positions. At this moment, Bang Di was extremely grateful and rushed to say thank you. "Thank you so much. If it weren't for you, we would have been in big trouble." Nak-ok had a question and asked, "Are your skills really not bad? Are you S-class?" The boy shyly scratched his head and replied, "No, in our Doa kingdom, we have never had an S-class demon, but I will definitely try my best." A little later, everyone went inside the hotel. High up, a blond man was watching attentively. He looked at the scene of people being processed by the guards and excitedly said that people from all countries had mostly arrived. As he spoke, he lifted his teacup, very much looking forward to what was to come. The prelude is about to begin. Everyone was lining up for a long time to check in. Bang Di looked at the crowd in front and said anxiously, "Are there really this many people at the hotel today?" She looked at the clock striking 6 and became even more impatient. "If it takes too long, we might not make it to the banquet." Nak-ok took a look at the people at the front, and then turned to the two orange-haired brothers standing at the end of the line, wondering to himself, why don't these people know to prioritize the disabled? After a long wait, it was finally their turn. Bang Di watched the person in front checking in and thought to herself, "Finally our turn." Then she turned around and called Lap Ti and Lap Mong. "You two do the paperwork first so your sister can rest early." Hearing this, they were overjoyed and replied, "Thank you so much." Seeing the rustic look of the two brothers as they handed over their national documents, the receptionist showed no respect and shouted, "Where are the documents? Get them ready beforehand. Don't waste everyone's time." Lap Ti heard this and shyly pointed at the documents, asking, Excuse me, isn't this it?" She frowned. "Gotta prioritize the disabled right." After a long, agonizing wait, it was finally their turn. Bang Di looked at the person in front checking in and thought, "Finally it's our turn." Then she turned, her face back, and called out, "Lap Ti and Lap Mong, you two. Finish your registration first, so your little sister can get some rest soon." They were thrilled and replied, "Thank you so much." Seeing the two brothers' hickish appearance as they handed over their national identification papers, the receptionist didn't show a hint of respect and shouted, "Where are the papers? Get them ready! Don't waste everyone's time!" Lap Ti felt awkward, pointed at the papers and asked, Sorry, isn't this it?" She scowled. "Where's your invitation? Bringing just a piece of paper from your own country. What good is that?" Suddenly, the room started buzzing. "He's here. Look, it's him. I've only ever seen him on the news."
Move, move, make way.
Two men. The hotel owner was watching from above and chuckled to himself. "You always have to make such a grand entrance, don't you?" The person everyone was fawning over was the biggest superstar of the Lei Kingdom, Lin Li. As soon as he stepped in, the praise started pouring in. "He's here, the super idol with real influence, and the strongest powerhouse across all 18 nations. The woman in the yellow dress walking beside Lin Li was his mother. As they approached the reception desk amid the flashes of fans' cameras, their bodyguards suddenly lunged forward, shoving everyone aside, shouting rudely, "Move it, clear the path! Move!" Lap Ti heard the commotion and turned around, surprised to find a massive bodyguard standing right in front of him with a stone-cold face. Suddenly, the guy shoved him hard, growling, "Get out of the way!" Seeing his brother being pushed, Lap Mong immediately reached out, panicked. "Brother!" Suddenly, a hand landed on Lap Mong's shoulder, holding her back. It was none other than our guy Nak-ok. He glared at the rude brute in front of him with pure disgust. The hotel receptionist saw Lin Li approaching and said deferentially, "Sir, since your mother is unwell, please use the express lane. No need to wait in line to register." He adjusted his glasses with a cool swagger and said to her, "I'll go ahead with my mother. You take care of the check-in for my team." She immediately agreed. "Of course, sir. If you'd just provide them with—" Suddenly, Nak-ok lunged forward, slamming into Lin Li. He staggered, eyes wide with shock. The bodyguard quickly caught him while Nak-ok pushed Lap Mong toward the counter and said irritably, "Hey, even a public figure should know how to wait in line, right?" Then, with a murderous, dark look on his face, he ordered the receptionist, "Process our paperwork first." She stood there wavering, not knowing what to do, hesitating in fear. Two men watched this opening move and stood up excited. "This is going to get interesting." He started explaining how dangerous Lin Li really was. Besides being a superstar, he held another title, the Demon Realm's deadliest striker. Lin Li had already stood up and regained his poise. He brushed off his shoulder and asked coldly, "Knock-ock was it, you brat?" He stepped closer to Knock-ock and threatened him. "You've got guts daring to shove me." Knock-ock ignored the guy behind him, eyes locked on the receptionist, asking impatiently, "Well, is our paperwork still missing something?" She was in a tough spot looking at the two powerful auras clashing in front of her, stuttering in fear. But... Not getting an answer, Lin Li immediately gripped Knock-ock's shoulder, calling out, Hey? He asked irritably. "Didn't hear me talking to you, did you?" Knock-ock didn't budge. From afar, Voquan was watching Lin Li with an icy, sharp gaze. Seeing Knock-ock didn't react, he squeezed tighter onto his shoulder. Voquan couldn't hold back anymore. He glanced at the guy and snapped, "Hey, let go." Lin Li smirked a look of contempt, then laughed loudly, causing the air around them to ripple violently. Voquan nearly lost his balance when Lin Li started laughing. He felt a bit cautious. The guy's power was overwhelming. Suddenly, the guy grinned strangely and said with manic excitement, "Not bad. I like the power you've got. It's quite interesting. Come on, test your strength against me." One arm was raised right after that sentence. The hotel manager immediately warned Lin Li as he was about to cause trouble. "Mr. Lin, any fighting before the match starts will lead to disqualification." He walked over with two big bodyguards by his side, telling Lin Li, "You are all super VIPs, no need to wait in line. You can use the express lane over here." He then turned his nose up and spoke disdainfully to the others. "You should head to the luxury suites over there. No need to crowd in with this bunch. People from the smaller nations stay in the standard rooms over there." Seeing the manager intervene, Lin Li decided to comply. He immediately turned his back, heading toward the VIP area. "Fine, whatever." Before leaving, he waved at Knock-ock and said, "Then, see you on the arena floor, I'll be waiting." Voquan turned his anger toward the receptionist. "How much longer do we have to wait?" She was trembling so hard she couldn't speak. The manager saw this and stepped in to help. He took Laptee's papers and said, "Leave it to me." Then he dropped a bombshell that left the brothers stunned. "So you're the contestant? Well, this girl has no right to a room here." Laptee, of course, wouldn't accept that. He rushed forward and, losing his temper, shouted at the manager, "What do you mean, no? Doesn't the invitation say we can bring family?" He maintained an indifferent attitude, explaining, "Bringing family? Is she really your family?"